Welcome, everybody, back to Episode 7 of Apron Bumps, the weekly wrestling podcast on the Brayster channel. I have, of course, your main man and host with the most, I suppose we can consider myself this week. Brayster, Braden Mayhew, joined with my two wonderful co-hosts. My wonderful channel collaborator, Mr. Gabe Nozid, and my good old buddy from my college days when I took my YouTube hiatus, Mr. Brandon Moyce. How are you both tonight?
Go ahead, Gabe. Let you go
I just had a big old steak, so I'm just kind of ready to talk about all things wrestling this sad week.
Did you eat your steak like Vince? I need to ask that before we.
I eat steak right now.
Or like the Exalted one? No, okay.
No, I just ate like that. I'll eat like Vince one day. I'll film myself for it.
Perfect. I hope you have like a white robe on that has a hood, and you grow a beard, and you can make a gimmick out of it. How about you? How about you, Mr. Moyes? How are you tonight?
Good. Still keeping sane in quarantine life.
Yes, myself included.
Yeah, you know what? Thank God for video games and that, because that's what keeping me sane.
Yeah.
What you been playing lately?
I've actually, like I said before we started, with Zelda I beat, but honestly, it's been a lot of baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah, a lot.
Were you playing that on the PlayStation?
Yeah, on the PlayStation right now, yeah.
The show, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So yes,
a lot of that stuff.
Everybody, a lot happened since me and Gabe were last on here, and by a lot, I really do.
7 days.
I know.
What the hell happened?
It's been a week, and shit hit the fan since the last time we recorded. Because WWE, in all of its infinite wisdom, decided that this was the perfect time to do a mass release of a bunch of fucking people in the midst of a pandemic where they can't really sign new contracts. I mean, you're not really going to be making deals with other companies if you haven't already. You know what I mean? Like it's
the worst time to be released.
Horrible.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
absolute worst.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Have you guys seen the Drake Maverick Twitter video?
Of course I did.
That was the first.
It was the first thing I seen too.
Oh, he choked me up, man.
Oh,
Holy! I felt so bad for that guy.
Yeah, I watched it. It was heartbreaking, and
he's still in the
He is.
championship.
He is.
And the thing he goes, if I have one match or 3 matches, if I make it to the finals, he goes, I'm gonna give you everything. And I was like, oh my jeez.
Yeah, because I guess like he's still gonna be included for the taping for that thing. I guess.
Yeah.
Has he had any like real good matches in the E or?
I can't even think of one standout match he's had, to be honest.
So these got to be the best matches of his.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're like, because most of the time he's just been playing like a general manager. It's not like he's been a wrestler for most of this run.
Or
I wonder why.
Chasing R-Truth around the world
for the
24/7.
Oh yeah. I mean, how could I forget about that, right? Like, I mean, that's a big career thing there.
Yeah.
I mean, for a while he was the longest reigning 24/7 champion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Riddick Moss, I think, has the record now. What a record that is!
Ew. I forgot. Didn't he like beat Ricochet for that?
He retained against Ricochet. He beat Mojo to win it.
Yeah. That's when you knew Ricochet's career was pretty much almost over in WWE.
I knew Ricochet's career was dead when he got pinned by Riddick Moss.
Yeah.
It was
that was the night after
he got it was the night after he got squashed by Brock. Then Vince had him jobbed to Riddick Moss. I'm like, it's over for this guy. It's done. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
it.
Pretty sure Riddick Moss was like 3 wins and umpteen losses in NXT. So, and then he beats Ricochet on Monday Night Raw.
Yep, and when they were still doing it in front of live people too. By the way.
Yeah.
That wasn't even since they went to the Performance Center. That was in front of a paying crowd. Yeesh.
Yeah.
Yeesh. So we're gonna go over these here releases. I got the whole list here, and I think there might have been some more that I might miss. I don't know, but I think this is as close as a list as I've got here. So Aiden English got released, but he hasn't been on television in forever. But
yeah.
Why did they ever split him and Rusev up? Was there any reason to have him go heel? I mean,
so what was the angle? Like, it was one night in Milwaukee, and then that's it, right?
Yeah, it's like I think he beat him, and then that was it. And then Aiden just kind of became a commentator for a while. Then he disappeared, and now he's released.
Well, do you want to hear a funny joke?
Sure, go ahead.
So Lana ruined Aiden English and Rusev's hot gig.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lana's ruined Bobby Lashley since, so.
Well, I would argue that Lashley didn't have much going for him even before being paired with Lana. It's not like they were doing much with him.
Rusev and Aiden were going hot like Rusev Day left and right every week.
Exactly.
It was like I could compare it to like Del Rio and what was his personal ring announcer? Ricardo. Remember when they had Del Rio turn on him and like Ricardo wasn't a part of his act anymore, and it instantly it's like Del Rio lost momentum. It was like the same thing here. Like, why are you getting rid of the guy's like little Rusev Day singer dude when it was working and it was super over? Like, I know you wouldn't believe it now, but if you go back and watch the Royal Rumble that Nakamura won a few years ago, and Rusev is like the second entrant, that act was so over at the time.
Yep.
And
it's like any act nowadays though is they cut short other than the New Day.
Yeah, it's like if you get popular to a point where they don't want to push you more, they'll purposely like stunt your momentum and make people forget about you because we don't want to push this any further than it is.
Yeah.
God damn the people getting what they want.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan went from the yes chant that was so popular to, the whatever it was.
No, right? He did the no. Like.
Well, no.
But he went to.
He's talking about the vegan phase there, where he was like the planet's champion. But to be fair, that was at Bryan's request, and he thought he'd done everything.
That was a really good turn. So.
It was good for a while, and it helped Kofi out. But at the same time, Bryan thought it would freshen up his career for a bit. But then he realized that there's more value in him being a babyface who came back from retirement. Exactly. That was a guy you should never have ever had to turn heel given the circumstances.
No, exactly,
So, and Kurt Hawkins got released. I mean, feel bad for him. His wife posted about how they're pretty screwed now. I guess she might have got out of work due to like the self-isolation stuff going on, and now he lost his job. And they have a baby on the way, so. That's not good for him.
That's my thing is when WWE does stuff like that, and you're like, okay, we gotta release some people, I guess, to cut expenses. You gotta look at like who you're cutting.
Exactly.
Even in regular life where they're not, good off with money like that. You look at it like a normal job. Like, you're not gonna look at something and go, I'm gonna cut that guy. He's got a baby on his way. They would actually be sensible and be like, okay, maybe next time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's just stupid.
Also, EC3 got released. I'm sure that's not a surprise to either of you, right? Like,
you know what?
It's not at all.
I am so happy he got released. They misused that guy.
They did misuse.
It could have been like the best thing in the main roster, to be honest.
They didn't to say that misused would say that they tried to use him. They never even tried to use him once.
Yeah, well, he beat Dean Ambrose once.
That's like the only push, and it wasn't even like a glorified win. It's like, he just pinned him.
It was like they just did it because he was a nobody on the main roster, and they thought it would make Dean look bad to lose to a chump. That's all they used him for. That's it.
Yep.
And they took him out of NXT for no reason. And now, to be fair, he didn't really do much in NXT. I mean, he was involved in that amazing ladder match that they had in New Orleans, which was awesome. And I mean, he had a couple good parts in it. Then he kind of feuded with Velveteen for a while. Then he just got called up and he did nothing.
I've heard rumors since the release that he wants to go back to Impact for a year and build his character once again, and then possibly sign with the AEW.
I think he should just go to All Elite if he can. Like, why go back to Impact? You've already done shit there.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, his character has been so demolished by WWE that if he did get signed by AEW and get thrown into maybe the big card.
Now, to be fair, did you really think they were going to mention Dixie Carter on WWE television?
No.
They did, actually. They did.
Did they?
Orton.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was a Orton and AJ Styles feud, and then for some reason, Orton just threw in the name Dixie Carter, referencing AJ's days in TNA.
Yeah, but I mean, they never did it for EC3 though while he was there.
No, and they did say Dixie Carter in national television.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't remember them ever bringing it up for him because his whole gimmick was that he was her nephew. He's her nephew, so he got nepotism or whatever, and that's kind of where his character started, was that he was her nephew or whatever. But it's upset. He's got tons of charisma. He's got a great. He's got the physique that Vince loves, and he's got personality.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna get pushed,
and he never did.
You know what? If he goes to AEW and let's say Darby wins the TNT title or something, and there's nothing for MJF. I would not be surprised if they put him in EC3 in a tag team. they're identical to each other. And I find, MJF's way better on the mic, but
and he's younger.
Yeah.
But it could give him something to do.
Yeah,
It would give MJF something to do. I mean, but like with a guy that's that good on the mic, you can find anything for that guy to do, and he's gonna probably excel at it, right? So
yeah.
Epico got released. I didn't even know he was still hired. So like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was looking at Epico and Primo, I was like, oh, there's.
Yeah. So let's talk about.
I thought they were with their dad's promotion. Right?
I think WWE allowed them to work both. So maybe that's where they just forgot that they were under their own contract, and then Vince looked through the list and went, oh, these Puerto Rican guys are still here. Because basically both guys were like JTG. JTG was on the roster doing nothing for like years and years and years. And he always said that every time he would tweet whenever a mass release happened and he was still like under contract and go, I'm still here, guys. I'm still here. And then all of a sudden he finally did get released, and it was like this big joke deal. And now it's like Primo and Epico are kind of like the same thing. Like the last time I remember both of them was when they were trying to sell timeshares. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that?
The Shining Stars.
Oh my god, that was so bad. That's the last thing I remember them doing.
That was a bad gimmick. I didn't like it.
Yeah, that was a long time ago too.
That's like 4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, when the Fashion Police was together.
Oh my god, that's the last time I remember. Then they just kind of disappeared. Maybe they competed on 205 Live. I don't think they ever did, though. I think they just kind of started wrestling for that Puerto Rican promotion at the same time, and WWE forgot about them being under contract to them. Eric Young,
like a WWE Live special too.
Yeah. Oh, well, they finally got released, both of them. So then Eric Young got released. That's so sad because he could have had tons of potential. I mean, he was the leader of Sanity, and they did absolutely nothing with Sanity when they called him to SmackDown. Yeah.
They didn't even bring up Nikki Cross when they brought up Sandy. I was like, why?
Well, they did. They did have her appear once when she challenged Becky shortly after Becky won the SmackDown Women's title. But that was the only. That was the only time she appeared with all of them on the main roster. That's the only time.
One time.
It was like a one-off thing, which is so sad. And then they did nothing with the group. Then Wolf went to NXT UK. Dane went back to regular NXT, and then Eric Young was just a jobber on Raw. They got to go back to NXT, but he just had to be stuck on Raw doing nothing, and now he's released.
He was also producing matches, I think.
Was he?
And yeah, he was also doing like the pre-show stuff, like Main Event and Superstars, I think. But he was mainly doing producer stuff.
The only thing I remember him doing at all on Raw was how Seth Rollins was a bit of an asshole and was like, you know, Eric, we've known each other for so long and blah, 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 and I'm not going to do anything to you. And Eric's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to fuck you over, blah, 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 blah. Then Seth just, like, as a paranoid bastard, just fucking waffles him and beats the shit out of him with a chair after telling him he wasn't. And may I remind you that this was before Seth turned heel. That was before he was a bad guy. He did that as a babyface.
I feel like they
what a guy to
like
cheer.
A stone cold reaction and anti-hero gimmick for him, but it just didn't work.
Well, it didn't work because he lured the guy into a false sense of security and basically lied to him and then beat the shit out of him. What's noble about that? That's not very babyface like. What hero lulls a person into a self like sense? You know what I mean? Lulls them to trust them and then just stabs them in the back. That's not a babyface quality. And with the exactly. And with the way he was tweeting, and our wrestling's the best in the world, and how about my paycheck that's way bigger than yours, Will Ospreay? And it's just like he wonders why people turned on him. Oh, woe is me! I got popular, and then they didn't want to cheer me anymore. Maybe if you didn't tweet like an idiot for 6 straight months and be a corporate shill, the people wouldn't have turned on you. You know? Now he's lucky there is no crowd to boo him or whatever. But like, I don't get why Seth was so salty about that when he was just tweeting like an absolute idiot for the longest time, as when he was supposed to be a babyface. Of course the crowd's going to turn on you. Holy shit. And now, okay, so that's enough with my Seth Rollins rant. I still like the guy. I still think he's a very talented wrestler. But like when he's baffled about why people turned on him and how he say it's going to happen to Drew and it's going to happen to these people and that people. Well, Drew doesn't tweet like a fucking bully talking about his paycheck and all that shit, and how his wrestling is far superior than the rest of the world's. No, Seth, not everybody tweets like you, me man. Maybe you should not be using Twitter. So, then again, Heath Slater got released, and I guess he's come out with shirts, like, talking about how he finally lost his job. Great merchandise, by the way.
Yeah,
I know.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's got no job for his kids.
Yeah.
Maybe he can get super buff, come back and win a world title like Drew and Jinder did.
Maybe. You know.
That's what everyone's saying.
It's the joke. It's the joke about how 3MB one member left and they got buff and they came back and won a world title. So
yeah, they all got buff when they left.
Yeah, both Jinder and Drew did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that'd be funny if he did, but I doubt it.
Imagine Heath Slater buff. Holy crap! I'd be scared.
It's quite a visual there, isn't it? Like
with an EC3 body. Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Just tiny head on this like massive like EC3 body. It would just look weird. I'm not gonna lie, it would look weird.
I got abs.
Yeah. And then the Good Brothers got released. I couldn't believe this. Anderson and Gallows let go.
Big loss. Like
that's a huge loss.
Too.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is on Monday Night Raw, you take them out. Who the heck is in your tag team division?
Very little.
Yeah, Viking Raiders and the Street Profits.
And the Garza collective there. Zelina's entourage. It's a weird group, but it's a weird because it came together only because of weird circumstances.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like if COVID didn't happen and Andrade didn't get hurt, Garza and Theory would still very much be like on NXT.
Yeah.
Andrade got suspended and they wanted to keep Zelina on TV. So they called up Garza to fill up the 30 days that Andrade was suspended. But then they didn't want to bring him back because he's got good charisma, so they kept him with Andrade. And then Andrade gets hurt when they get a tag title shot, so they have no choice, but they give Austin Theory a shot. Now they're keeping him on TV, and it's the three of them. So it's like only by ridiculous circumstances did that whole thing come together. But they're another team. Yeah, they're another group. I can't think of anybody beyond them, though. It's like, yeah, the Street Profit. I guess when Razor comes back, you got AOP. I guess
they're injured a lot. I feel bad for those guys.
So, yeah, like Razor just tore his bicep. He's out for who knows how long, but I guess they count. They're a tag team.
They remind me of like sports athletes that have so much potential, but they always get injured and you hardly see them.
Yeah, they've been hurt all the time since the call up. One of them gets hurt, the other gets benched because they got nothing to do, and
hasn't Razor tore his bicep twice? I mean, that's a pretty hard.
I think it was Akam who got hurt the first time.
Oh, Akam.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't tell the difference between the two.
Razor's the one with like the with more hair. He's the one with like Akam's like kind of like has like a buzz cut, and then Razor's the guy who's got like more mop on the top. You know, I don't know. Is that helping or not really?
I'm
still spacing on it. Okay, one's got more hair. One's got more hair than the other. But yeah, without Anderson and Gallows, your tag team division just went down, and like Styles just lost his faction now. He just lost his group, who he's been teaming with, and I guess you can thank him for keeping them on television for like last year.
Well, AJ's dead now, so it doesn't matter.
Well, we all know. Yeah, I mean he's dead for now, but he's obviously going to come back. And as we mentioned last week, it'll be like he never even got buried. He'll just be like, oh, I'm back, blah, blah, blah. You know, not even mention that he got buried in a boneyard. You know? Yeah, but now he's lost his faction, but, like, I was shocked. Because these guys were being used on television all the time.
Yeah, no matter,
every week, pretty much.
Yeah, they were used every week.
Like it's one thing to talk about Aiden English, Kurt Hawkins, EC3, Primo Epico, but, like Anderson and Gallows? Like, they were used
on TV every week.
Every week. Every week with AJ. So this guy, that shocked me that they're gone now. I found that
like the worst part is they had like big money contracts for like years to come in WWE too. So that's just horrible for them.
Yeah, then Kurt Angle got released. I guess
I didn't even know he was contracted.
I didn't. Well, he must have signed something because he was the GM for a bit. Then he had his like farewell thing last year, and since then he's been.
He was actually a coach, for a couple of the young wrestlers. As well,
yeah, well,
sounds about right.
When he got retired, I didn't know. Maybe he was doing agent stuff. I don't know. Apparently, he's released now, so it's like, wow, that's an interesting one. Lio Rush released.
Oh my God.
Yeah, poor guy. He was getting his groove with the cruiserweight division. Now he just gets to let go. Well.
Yeah, I don't. Isn't he in the cruiserweight?
No, he's not. I thought he was. I thought he was, but he's not.
Out of all the people, they have Drake Maverick. Like, no offense to him, they have Maverick instead of Lio Rush, so that's really weird.
Yeah, he got a lot of heat from what was it, a couple years ago? Whatever he said to one.
It was Emma.
Emma, what he said to her in the back. And ever since then, I don't think he's been really well liked. So
Yeah, I mean, he's still young. I mean, he's got a
he's
got a
very
couple years
he's
to go.
very young, so I'm sure he'll be fine. But like, it's like, where is he gonna get work now? Like, how are you gonna sign
Exactly.
contracts and people aren't going out?
That's like all of them now.
Yeah,
you know?
that's my. We'll get into that once we get through this list, I suppose. Maria got released. Okay. Along with her husband too, by the way.
Yeah,
Weren't they like having a kid? Another one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
they're rumored to go back. I think Mike already put on his Twitter, Instagram that they're already in talks with Impact with a contract.
Well, are they the only couple to ever win the same championship? Married couple to win the same title?
Yes,
I know that's a stupid statistic, but I mean, at least you could take something from the run, right? Even if if the fucking storyline was one of the worst I've ever witnessed. It's like, are you
It felt so bad. Oh my god.
like if you think Ricochet got buried this year, holy fuck, burial isn't even considered half of what Mike Kanellis went through last year.
Like my least favorite word, like at the moment, is the word simp, but that is like the
Yeah.
definition of it.
It's
Like
what
he literally,
happened.
like didn't freaking care like what happened to him. You know,
And
like he did whatever Maria did. That's horrible character right there.
Horrible.
You know what the funny thing is too is during the Impact time of Drew McIntyre at the time, when he was Impact and World Championship, World Champion in Impact, his main feud that lasted like 4 to 5, I think maybe even 6 months, that got so much hype around it was against Mike Kanellis, or at that point he had a different name, but
Mike Bennett.
His
Mike
actual
Bennett, sorry.
name.
Yeah,
but they gave him Maria's name in the main roster, which is so weird. Like,
but their feud was the main event at Bound for Glory one year. That's how popular he was, and then WWE just crushed him.
Yeah, like I just have no words. As I said, his WWE run will be remembered for being bossed around by his wife, them both winning the same championship, her winning it from him by forcing him to like basically lay down and get. I do not need to go back and go through that whole storyline, but yeah, that'll be Mike and Maria Kanellis's highlight from their one, is their 24/7 shit, and basically her berating him and making him look like shit. Like, could you imagine being talked into doing that? Like, you're a loving couple, and you got to talk shit about your husband every week. Whatever. Well, we can move on. We won't waste any more time on that. No Way Jose released. I guess not a big shock. I mean, all he's been doing is showing up with his conga line and getting squashed.
He was Adam Rose, but like I guess Caribbean or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the gimmick didn't work that first time. Let's give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
I liked Adam Rose much better with that gimmick, and the music was more memorable. So this whole No Way Jose was
I thought
he had a hot feud in NXT too with Velveteen Dream that did really well.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
When Velveteen first, like I think it was his first ever feud, it was him and No Way Jose.
I thought his first feud was Alistair.
Alistair was well after, because like Velveteen with that character debuted in May of 2017, and the Alistair feud didn't start to the fall. So Dream was doing stuff in the spring before that.
Yeah, I think it was No Way Jose. I think they finished in on a main event of one of the NXT.
Yeah, it never made it to TakeOver.
No, definitely no.
Because Dream's first takeover. Dream's first takeover was against Alistair in War Games. So, moving on, Rowan with his cage got released.
You know, I never liked Rowan like as a singles or with the family.
I liked him as a part of the faction, but he never worked as a singles guy ever.
Yeah, I never like saw him as a individual, even with the family. He was okay, I guess.
As a stable guy, as a big guy with a beard that braid washed, that was fine. He was fine in that role.
Like his best work was with Daniel Bryan with the Eco.
I was all Bryan, you know, which you could say that was all Bray too, but like at least I thought like Rowan had some good performances with the Wyatt family. Like when I think of Rowan, I think of his time with Bray and Luke Harper, and the matches they had with the Shield, and that's like the highlight of his career. I mean, like to me, he never really did much after that. Like, I mean, even like they had that Bludgeon Brothers run, but that was just like let's pair him with Harper again because they're both big and have beards. But I guess they got a tag title run out of it. But yeah,
and then they got injured.
yeah. Or I think Rowan did actually, and that put a kibosh to that. But yeah, he never really did well as a singles competitor. And
So where does he go here?
I have no idea. I don't know where any of these people go. It's a pandemic.
I think. I mean, let's say after the pandemic, I think Impact would probably be his best bet.
Impact. That sounds about
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because Don Callis is so, he's so cinematic with the way he likes to do feuds and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it wasn't what's his
like
name?
The Rosemary stuff that he does with her.
Yeah.
It's so cinematic. Yeah, the Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callahan fight they did on Impact once was so cinematic. So I can see Eric Rowan fitting in there.
You know, someone from like NXT that I didn't care about, and then like he has a lot of traction going on Impact is Sawyer Fulton or Madman Fulton.
Madman, yeah, he's doing big things right now.
Yeah, he's doing really great things in Impact. So
that's why I know Impact isn't big anymore, but you got to give it to their creative team because they build superstars, and then when their contract is finished, the superstars either go to AEW or back to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Which is,
Yeah, but like Impact is still, it's basically like, it's kind of like Ring of Honor in the sense that it's there for guys to either reinvent themselves or build themselves up so they become more valuable for bigger promotions.
It's almost like the minor leagues, and then once they're done building themselves up, boom, they go right to the majors, which is the two top companies.
Yeah, which is what Ring of Honor has been doing for fucking ever. Yeah, that's
exactly.
been Ring of Honor's spot, and it's pretty much still their spot all these years later. Unfortunately, we talked about Aiden English, but Rusev also released. There was never a finish to that storyline. He never got revenge on Lashley. It never fully became a thing. I don't remember the last time he was even on television.
Well, my thing is that feud was probably the worst of his career. But my thing is, how do you not make that guy into a world champion?
I know. So he did I know you can't stay undefeated forever. The monster heel thing runs its course. But even after that, he got over twice when they tried to pretty much just shove him under. He did different things to get himself known. He got himself over during this storyline, which is one of the worst ever, and he got people to cheer him. That's a special guy right there. If he can get cheers through such an awful, awful storyline. People were chanting Rusev Day. They were still behind him as a babyface, despite how awful the Lashley Lana shit was. And then they let him go. It's like
he's a big guy. He can move.
He can work.
Size.
He can work good.
I don't know how you don't make that guy a world champion. I mean, I understand they tested out Jinder Mahal as champion, and it didn't really, people hated it.
That was for a demographic though, for the Indian market.
Yeah, but my thing is, if you're gonna give it to him, and you're going to test him out, and maybe, hopefully, he grows as a champion. Why wouldn't you not do that with Rusev?
Well, maybe Bulgaria just doesn't have as much interest as India, so maybe that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Jinder should not have been champion at all, in my opinion. Rusev would have been a much better position for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my point.
They mishandled him for a long time. They never capitalized on the Rusev Day thing. They went with Jinder instead to win the U.S. title. During that time period at WrestleMania 34, and then it fizzled out, and then they had Aiden turn on Rusev. And then on top of that, they turned Rusev heel and aligned him with Nakamura for no reason. And then that stunted his momentum again, and then he ended up getting caught up with this worst storyline ever with Lashley and Lana. And now he's let go with no conclusion or resolution to the storyline that never ended. Now it's ending because Rusev's gone.
Where do you guys think he ends up?
That's hard to say. I don't really know. I mean, AEW cannot get into the habit of signing ex-WWE guys. They don't want to become TNA. I'm going to stress this. You don't want to become known as the place where cast-offs who get released go and sign. You got to be able to build your own stars.
I think he can make it in AEW.
I agree with you, Braden, but I think the way TNA went down was they signed too many managers.
No, it went down because of Hulk Hogan and Dixie Carter being dumbasses.
No, but that's my thing is, if I don't care if TNA signed, like Rob Van Dam and those guys. It was signing Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair,
Nash.
Eric Bischoff, the old-time guys that were already retired for so many years, and they brought them in as either a general manager or a manager to, like Ric Flair managed AJ Styles, which was the stupidest thing in the world. But yeah, I don't think AEW should do that. I mean, they have Billy Gunn.
Yeah, but
right
he's kind of more of an agent than anything else.
Yeah, he's more of a producer agent.
It's not like
but
he's
I'm
on
saying-
TV every week.
Yeah,
if at
I'm
all.
saying if AEW shouldn't do that. If they sign the superstars, I don't think it's that bad because I mean, look at Luke Harper, Brody Lee now.
Yeah, if you look at it, all the people in AEW, they're people who weren't given a chance in WWE, you know.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
While people in TNA, those were like stars who already had a name from WCW or like WWE. So I think AEW, they're more on like, hey, you weren't given a chance. Let's give you the spotlight or more.
Well, Rusev was given a lot more chances than Brody Lee ever was. You know, Rusev had more opportunities. He got to work Cena at Mania. He had some high-profile stuff in his career, more than like Luke Harper ever had in WWE. So I don't know. I just don't want to see them get in the habit of signing WWE guys, because to me, you got to sign indie talent that hasn't been on a mainstream level, and you make them mainstream, and you make them your stars, like Darby Allin, like Sammy Guevara, like MJF. For example,
Lance Archer.
You know, yes, like people like that, right? So that's all my whole point. But I wouldn't mind if Rusev went there. Like I wouldn't mind it, but like it still would be like I'd be thinking All Elite would be getting in the habit of. I mean, you just signed Matt Hardy and Brody Lee back to back and had them on TV, and you're gonna do the.
But my thing is, they signed them and they were WWE talent, but they're completely different from how they were in WWE.
Because Matt Hardy can teleport now.
Yeah,
exactly. They never really did the Vanguard one thing. That was Impact thing. And then Brody Lee, to me, is a complete makeover from his WWE days.
Yeah, but like anybody who watched him on the independent circuit knows he can go and knows he can have a pretty good career if you put the right like push behind him. Mm-hmm. Anybody who watched him as his original run as Brody Lee back in the day would know that
I mean, if he would have signed with AEW and he come out with that greasy ass white T-shirt he used to wear and those blue jeans, people would have been like, okay, well, I don't want to see him. I just seen him in WWE. They haven't done anything with him.
Yeah, so let it be. I suppose we'll see where it goes with time goes on, because I don't know how anybody's going to be signing any new contracts anytime soon with the state of the world. So Sarah Logan had one of the weirdest like exits I've ever seen. So. They have Shayna just like stomp the hell out of her elbow. We'll get into that a little more with the. I'm pretty sure that happened on Raw this week. Yeah, the Money in the Bank qualifiers happened on Raw this week. So
she had a match.
Yeah, she got her elbow stomped super hard and sold it like her arm was racked and destroyed. And Shayna just walks off. And then the ring announcer gives it to her, as in Sarah Logan, as the winner. But then they go back and say, oh, no, he meant to say that Shayna won. I'm like, this is a tape show! How did you say Sarah Logan won by quitting when, like, obviously it was a forfeit win for Shayna, but they announced Sarah Logan initially as the winner and then had to go back and say, no, he meant to say Shayna, but that's a tape show. That should have completely been edited and redone. What is going on with this company and not being able to edit bad flubs out of their fucking shows? Holy fuck. And now, right after that, now she's been released, and I don't know. I don't know where she goes from here.
Back in the Indies, I think she made a name for herself in Japan at one point as Crazy Mary. So
maybe she'll go back. Hope for the best for her. Zack Ryder released.
That's the saddest
one. Woo. You know it, bro. Like.
Drake Maverick, but yeah, he's what started the whole social media wrestling like crossover.
Yeah, so. Then he got a slight push for it, then immediately buried. So
Bye, Cena.
I don't ever want to relive that Kane John Cena Eve storyline. It was just
that was weird. Like,
it was stupid. It ruined any credibility Ryder had. It made him look like a cuck, and he got destroyed by Kane every week, so he came off as a joke, and they never used him again after that. It was...
My favorite moment of him is still the Money in the Bank match. Not Money in the Bank, sorry.
When he won the IC title at WrestleMania 32.
Yeah,
probably the highlight. It's probably the highlight of his career too, no less.
And he lost it the next day to Miz, which is the saddest part.
Yeah, but at least he can say, I won the Intercontinental title in the opener of WrestleMania, and nobody can take that away from him. So that's all the oh, no, I got one more team to talk about. The Revival got let go this week, too, by the way, boys.
Oh, yeah, but that was separate from...
I know it's separate, but we might as well go over it. Allegedly, like, a Dash is posting that Vince wanted them to wear wacky clothing upon coming back. Did you guys see these pictures?
I saw one of them.
I've seen a couple, yeah.
Is that not just, like, thank God they walked. Like, I bet Dash and Dawson looked at that and went, like, yeah, we're out. We're not coming. We're not... Yeah. We're done. That's it. No flips, just fists, and we're not wearing fucking stupid colors. And then they walked. Yeah. They're done. So,
and they've already came out on I think it was Dash's Twitter, and he said once everything is over, he goes, Cody's already reached out, and the Bucks have already reached out. They already have a contract waiting for them.
Yeah, Revival versus Bucks is a match that needs to happen. That match would be unbelievable.
Oh yeah, that's pay-per-view money.
That's pay-per-view gold. And we all know it. That isn't because because it's just a contrast of styles, right? Like the Bucks are all about the flips and the Revival's against keeping teams grounded and not letting them be able to do it'd be like them with DIY again. It's just gonna be one of those things where it's it's a perfect contrast of teams that know how to be tag teams and know how to make a tag team match work. That is pay-per-view, and I hope we get to see it.
It'd be funny if they had no chemistry in the ring, like. They build it up and then it's just
that would suck. But I think the Revival is good. They can adapt to any team. I think.
Yeah, exactly,
they don't do a bunch of super flashy stuff, but they know how to work old school. And
they're really classic at their ring work.
And I think they can adapt to any team and make it work. They'll ground the Bucks. They'll make the Bucks work harder for the high spots. I think the Revival can get a babyface team over in anywhere they work. I have that much confidence in them as a tag team. They're that good.
Did you hear their new names?
No. What are they?
I just know that their new name as a team is the Revolt. And then their names are kind of weird. I think it's Cash Wheeler is a...
Dash?
I think it's Dash, yeah. I forgot who Scott is, but... Yeah, that's all I can remember.
I hope all the best for them, and they can show that they could be like one of the best tag teams in the world when given push. And AEW, what's the hottest thing about their programming? Their tag team division.
Their tag team.
Their tag team division is well and above all the rest of the tag teams in American wrestling today. It's their hottest thing they have going. So the Revival will fit right in with a company that knows how to use tag teams and cares about using tag teams.
Exactly.
Because all Vince cares about using tag teams for is fucking breaking them up. That's all he cares about. Let them get over and we'll break them up. Let them unless you're the New Day because you sell a bunch of merch, then we'll keep you together. But otherwise, if you're a really popular tag team, you're fucking getting split up and you're feuding with each other and blah 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 blah. We all know how it goes there. And now there have been a few agents and producers that have been released. The list is Billy Kidman. He's been there for a while. At least I think he was producing stuff. Dave Finley was let go. Lance Storm, who just started working there, got let go. I think they picked him up in the fall or like early this year. He has not been there long. Like he just started working with them again, and now he's let go.
To be fair, I think a good amount of them are furloughed instead of being released.
Yeah, I think so too, but it's still it's something to point out, right? Like it's still what a time to be doing furloughs as well as releases, right? Like Mike Rotunda got released as the former IRS, Pat Buck released, Sarah Stock, Scott Armstrong, who I guess I don't know if he's a referee, he was anyway, but I guess he was doing agent stuff. Shane Helms, who's been working there, he was working there for at least a year now, and Sean Davari as well. All I guess furloughed. Yeah, I guess they're temporarily furloughed. But Storm did say that he full on lost his job. He tweeted that.
Oh really?
Yes. He said that he is full on released. Everybody else seems to have been furloughed, but Storm has gone on to say that I have been let go. And as I said, he just started working there in the fall. At the latest, the fall. Like, he was there, I want to say 6 months max. At, absolute most. So.
Didn't he, close his, wrestling school, too?
I think he did to go work for them, yeah.
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 Wow.
In the fall. So.
Yeah, that's WWE. That's how they treat you.
Odd times.
Yeah.
It's been reported that Deonna Purrazzo was let go too, but I don't know if that was been.
Oh yeah, she's
was
gone.
she? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
her. The day or two after they announced all those releases.
Yeah, some releases have been like revealed late, but the news is that they've been all released Wednesday. Like Chris Hero, I think, is also released.
Yeah,
and,
I heard about that like a day or two ago. He got let go as well. Yeah.
I forgot her name. Tainara Conti is also gone.
Mm-hmm.
MJ Jenkins. Yeah, some NXT people that haven't been on TV that much.
I still think that Cassius 001 is probably the one that's gonna hurt the most.
Yeah, because he was also a trainer at the same time.
And when every time they got new talent, like that they signed, he was the guy that coached them and said, "This is how NXT works. This is how you're gonna get over with the crowd." So losing him is huge.
I feel like he's like the best like teacher to have in professional wrestling.
It's because he knows how to work. He's gotten over in front of the smallest of crowds and some of the bigger ones. He's been all over the world.
And he knows so much like wrestling trivia for no reason too.
And they moved him up to NXT UK because some of the guys that they were pushing in UK weren't getting over with the crowd, so they moved him up.
And the performance center there too.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I mean is like he was kind of being used as the guy where new signees would come in and he'd kind of be like their first match or first feud for a while, and then he'd kind of get them used to the style, and now you lost that. So it's
even though he wasn't like I guess main event status, he was still a big part of.
He was the veteran presence of the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, look at when Matt Riddle came in. That was a great feud for Matt Riddle.
Yeah, it got him over too, and then he skyrocketed after that. I mean, it was just a small little part of his run.
Yeah,
but
you're gonna release a guy like that. That's to me that's.
Well, they've already released him once before. They let him go in NXT, so it's not like. But he had a long.
But did you know why they released him the first time?
I can't remember why. That's many years ago now.
He got a domestic violence.
I did not know that. So.
Yeah, they released him and he cleared it up and all that and signed him.
Well, so that's as far as I know. Those are all the people who have been let go or furloughed in the last week. And again, we're just gonna sum it up and just say this is a horrible time to be doing that to people that that rely on you for a paycheck. Exactly. Like the wrestlers who are full on release, they're no longer getting any money from the WWE.
Yeah.
And with everybody doing social distancing and locking down, it's gonna be hard to sign with anybody new for these guys. They might be stuck in limbo for a while. I think that's why.
Oh my God.
I think that's why WWE's getting so much heat is they had the money to keep these guys around and at least try and keep, even if you weren't going to book them for shows, at least kind of keep paying them till this kind of got better and then you could let them go. But now you've let them go where there's limited opportunities to be able to sign with anywhere else because nobody wants to take the chance or has to do social distancing to try and combat a worldwide pandemic. And now these guys seeming like they're gonna be lost and potentially jobless for a while. It's a bad it's a horrible situation.
Oh, look at AEW. There's guys that haven't been on TV for 3 weeks and they're still getting paid full pay.
Yeah, they got a lot less money than the WWE does too, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did WWE release a statement on why they released so many people?
Vince basically he had this thing where he's like, oh, it's we aren't making as much money as we were due to the worldwide situation. We had to make some cuts to balance some things out. Blah 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 blah. Big corporate fucking cover up that everybody just kind of went, it's Vince. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it was just like corporate Vince talking and trying to make better of the situation. But, he's like, oh, boy, these trying times, we had to make some cuts to make sure that we could keep going because we aren't getting the money that we were and blah, 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 blah. It was a big excuse is what it was, and everybody's seen it as that. And, I mean, WWE is still getting criticized for this mask thing today. Like, everybody knows that you had the money to keep those guys for a couple more months. Like, we know this.
And he's, I think, on board with Trump or something, to rejuvenate the entertainment scene with Dana White or something, or the sports scene.
I love I love how every few weeks WWE and UFC want to battle for the most disgusting promotional tactic of the year. These freaking blood promoters just topping each other in just dirty tactics and trying to pretend that a worldwide situation isn't happening. So let's just keep resuming shows because we need to make money. It's ridiculous.
Did you hear what Trump said about the pandemic and all that?
I have. What did he say?
He told everybody in their own state or whatever city. He said your governor runs that city, so if they want to open up stuff, they can. So the Florida governor, so where the NXT Performance Center is, said WWE was essential.
Oh yeah, we talked about that last week.
all baseball, like kids baseball, college baseball, high school baseball can go back on. All football activities go back on. Like, do these guys not know what's happening in the world, or are they just?
They don't want to. It's so unprecedented that nobody wants to be out and stay inside and not have the economy working like it should be, or like how everybody's been used to in this side of the world for so long. That they're half bluffing it and they want to get stuff going because you got to keep the economy going. Yeah. But this is an unprecedented situation, and it's kind of scary. Like, I mean, every day there's uncertainty. And if you're just going to kind of bluff it off and things can go and you're not going to take the measures that need to be taken, it's just going to prolong things to be even worse.
Exactly.
So, which we're going to go on to now. WWE has, Vince has gone back on his word. He's taping shows all the way through July. Last week he was demanding that, all WWE shows go live from the Performance Center. I guess his television contract people kind of got in his ear. And they've kind of basically said that they're going to pay a certain amount for the WWE shows, but they said there's a deal that needs to be made. You have to do tapings. You have to tape stuff because apparently, allegedly, they say taping is better for the performers because then they could tape a bunch of stuff and then you send them all home while the shows air. And you're not having them show up to a fucking Performance Center every week, so it's being done for the wrestler's safety. And we talked about this last week. That should be what is done. Is just do a mass taping like AEW did. Because AEW taped a bunch of stuff last month. Like a ton of shows.
AEW's next taping, if the pandemic's still going, would be June 1st.
Yeah, it would be June. So they've taped up to June. So they taped 3 months worth of television.
Yeah.
They have way less resources and stuff than WWE. WWE could tape probably even more than that if they wanted to.
Yeah.
With what they have. So, I mean, the network's kind of gotten Vince's ear. They kind of wanted to be rest assured that the wrestlers will be safe. And by doing so, they just decided that they're going to do tape shows and they're doing them till July, considering the pandemic keeps going on. So, Vince wanted to do one thing and his fucking, guaranteed money told him another. And so now the shows are all going to be taped going forward until at least July of this year. But at least it's being done with the wrestler's safety in mind. So they probably taped, I don't know, last week or whatever, or maybe 2 weeks ago. Who knows how many shows they've taped since this has come out? But maybe they're doing a mass taping this week. I mean, I don't know what this means. It means a mass taping of sorts is coming up for 3 months, right? So if we go from April to July, that's about 3 months.
Well, they're also doing some live shows. Like, wasn't Friday a live show for SmackDown?
It didn't seem like it. They didn't have the live stamp up on the screen. It seemed pretty taped to me.
Oh, I heard it was live. I mean, I didn't watch it, but I heard it was live.
It looked taped to me. They did not have a live indicator. You know how when WWE does live shows, they fucking put on by the logo that it's live? There was no live indicator on last week's SmackDown. It looked pretty taped to me. Looked very taped. So, and they're going to be tape shows going forward for the safety of the performers, and I'm glad at least that's being done. Because to have guys fly to fucking Florida every week to shoot shit just didn't seem like a good idea to me. Didn't seem like a good idea to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's that. So, he wanted to do live shows, but his guaranteed money told him to do tape shows. So that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, they should do tape shows.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yep, at least until July anyway. So we got 3 months of taped empty venue shows from WWE. But I mean, hey, AEW is doing it too.
Yeah, at least if it's tape shows and there's no audience. If you mess up anything, you can fix it. Or if you want the story to play out in a more cinematic way, like they did the Boneyard match and that, you can do that. So they have a little bit more options. They should just take advantage of it for the time being.
Yeah. So then another big announcement happened this week. AEW announced that they are no longer having Double or Nothing at the MGM Grand like it was originally scheduled. That's where they held Double or Nothing last year. Mm-hmm. But the show is still going to go and take place on the date they had scheduled, and it's going to be, they haven't said where because it's an undisclosed location, but it's going to be basically from like a closed set like they've been taping Dynamite from.
If I had to guess, I'd probably say the compound.
You'd say what?
The Hardy compound, not Hardy's compound.
Oh, maybe like one of the matches would take place there. I wouldn't imagine the whole show takes place from there, or do you? You would imagine the whole show?
Weren't they going to do it in Jacksonville? Because it's also Florida, right?
But they haven't. Maybe, but they haven't disclosed the location. They just said like it'll be undisclosed, like where they've been taping Dynamite. I imagine it'll be somewhere like that. But yeah, they could do some cinematic stuff too. Like they could use the Hardy compound for like a match. Again.
Well, where they're doing it right now, like every week, AEW, they're doing it at QT Marshall's. They're doing it at QT Marshall's wrestling school.
Oh, are they?
And yeah.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah, and supposedly the Hardy compound is like double the size of his place.
Oh, maybe they could hold a pay-per-view there, like shoot it. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't read further into it, but I think they did say live. They are planning to go live, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
they are.
I don't think they're taping Double or Nothing. I think they're planning on having that.
Going live.
Yeah, they're going live. So it's going to be from whatever location they choose. So just not happening at MGM. It's just happening somewhere else now.
Still have a pretty much like 4 or 5 weeks before it happens, so I mean a lot could change hopefully in that.
Oh yeah, I mean some people are even predicting that they'll have to cancel it, but I don't think so. I think they're gonna keep that show going on
worst case
in
scenario,
May.
you could just take
Yeah, they could just tape it. That is an option because WWE taped their biggest show of the year, and I guess you could consider Double or Nothing AEW's like premiere show, right? Because it was like their first pay-per-view they did as a promotion, so it's kind of like I guess you could consider it their flagship pay-per-view, unless like you count All Out in the summer, since that was.
No, they have the AEW podcast there with I forget the girl's name. She's the referee there, Aubrey Edwards. Yeah, her and Tony Schiavone have a podcast. Cody was on it, and they asked him, "What do you want to be pegged as, like the biggest pay-per-view in AEW?" And he said.
So now we've gotten the big time news out of the way, and now it's time to go over the shows of last week. They're building up Money in the Bank, boys. That's was made clear on this week's edition of Raw. So Raw opened up doing like a look over of Drew McIntyre beating Big Show after WrestleMania happened. Still weird that took place.
That's
that you taped a main event match after WrestleMania to air on Raw specifically the next night. Just weird, wacky, just really weird.
And then after that was done, they premiered or they pretty much did a cheap plug for his new Netflix show.
Yeah, the Big Show where he's a babyface in that show, but he's a heel after WrestleMania.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I've watched 2 episodes. It's fantastic.
I've heard it's pretty funny.
Good?
Yeah, it's so good. It's such a worth a watch. I'm only 2 episodes, 10 of them. And
I heard that it's
3
bad,
right
like writing wise, but I feel like it's just some people they're not used to sitcoms or something.
Yeah. So it's like it's anything. I'm not gonna say it's compared to like a top comedy, but you have to watch it because there's a lot of one-liners that you'll miss, and it's pretty much like that. Like you have to have a good ear for.
So Raw started their first match, and it was Asuka against Ruby Riott. Winner qualifies for Money in the Bank. They have just an average TV match. Asuka gets the Asuka lock, gets a submission. She's the first woman to qualify for the women's Money in the Bank match. And then we go to MVP, who's just standing backstage, and he's got some champagne. And I could have swore this
MVP was still part of the company.
I'm pretty sure he said he retired after the Royal Rumble, but now he's going to be taking on Apollo Crews.
Yeah, this is weird. I thought he's done, but he's still wrestling every now
which means he's losing to Crews, which Apollo's, what luck this guy has. He ends up being just thrown into a match with Aleister Black a few weeks ago. Now he's going to get a pay-per-view spot with all this going on. At least I think it's good. I can't see MVP qualifying for a ladder match. I think he's
that would kind of suck.
Fun. It would be funny though if MVP beat him.
Yeah, that would be kind of sucky.
Yeah, so I'm thinking Crews is going to make it. I mean, he's more of the athlete that should be in a match like that. Then Aleister Black's taking on Austin Theory. I think very much Aleister Black beats Theory to take a spot. And then we got Rey Mysterio versus Murphy in the third qualifying match. And all those take place next week on Raw. I take it that Rey's probably going to qualify, maybe? I think, over Murphy?
Yeah, the ladder match he had with Andrade, you don't put him in the Money in the Bank. There's something wrong.
It's just Ray's old and his knees are shot, so it's like, do you really want him in a ladder match, right? But I mean, he is a babyface, and we'll find out.
You know what? Is it actually going to be a ladder match after the picture I sent?
Oh, we will get to that because that was announced officially on SmackDown. We will get to that. So Oney Lorcan, who's been being booked on Raw every week. I love it after every time he gets squashed, he talks about getting his ass kicked by so-and-so superstar. So, like, he was on Raw this week, and he lost quickly to Aleister Black, and... I mean, actually, they went through a commercial break. So it was like an average TV match where he took a black mask and got pinned. And then on Twitter, right after the match was done, he's like, oh, I got my ass kicked on Raw this week by Aleister Black. And it's in all caps. His Twitter is something to follow. If I just think it's entertaining the way he talks about getting his ass kicked by so-and-so. Because he's booked to lose every single match he has on Raw and SmackDown. But, again, if only him and Birch got more of an opportunity. But you're a tag team, and we all know if you're a tag team, you're fucking screwed when you're in the WWE.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, unless you're, like, in NXT for a long period of time, you're fucked. So, they go over Becky versus Shayna at WrestleMania. Still can't believe Becky retained, but she did. We go over that again. Wonderful. So... I think Becky ended up like cutting a promo about this and how she was the one who essentially said somebody who is born to bully will never beat somebody who is born to survive everything. She cut a promo basically talking about how she dug down deep and retained her belt and I guess cage fighting didn't bring Shayna to a championship, but she's still kicking. Just the usual babyface rating champion promo. And Becky makes it work because she is a good talker and all that sort of stuff.
So, my quick question to both of you is, Shayna lost at WrestleMania, and everybody was like, "Hey, why would she lose at WrestleMania if you put her over that well or that that big?" What would you think if they fought again at Bank or let's say SummerSlam, whenever they do again? What do you think would be the outcome, and what do you think would happen?
Actually, I think they're just gonna have Shayna win Money in the Bank, and she cashes in and steals the belt from Becky, knowing them.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I went. I was searching the web I think last week, and I went to I think I typed in like in Google like AEW. Are they reaching out to sign anybody? And it showed all the contracts expiring in like the next by October, and supposedly Rousey has signed another year contract. And it didn't even get stated on Raw that she signed. She signed till WrestleMania 2022.
When? Recently?
Like she supposedly, it didn't say she signed, but if you go, I forget the website. I would have to get it again. But it shows everybody who signed, and it said Rousey just signed another 1-year extension, and I think it gave the date, and then it said she signed through WrestleMania 2022. And this was probably a couple days, week after WrestleMania ended. I looked that up.
I don't
know.
So
my initial thought was they're probably going to do something where Shayna's going to win, but Ronda is going to turn heel, and they're going to form that.
I don't know. I doubt Ronda comes back. That sounds very clickbaity to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see her coming back at all. With all the shit she's been talking about, fans are blah blah blah, and they don't care.
Yeah,
and
but it's almost like the Edge, right? Edge was denying, and then he got, or not rude, but he got in people's face, said, no, it's not true, man, I'm not coming back, and he got like really stern about it. Ronda's doing the same thing. Oh no, the rumors are not true. I'm having a big, you've been saying that for 1.5 years now.
Yeah, well,
is that just a cover up?
Everybody thought she'd be at Mania or would be in the build up to WrestleMania. She wasn't there, So I'll believe it when she comes. I'll believe it when she steps foot in the ring again. Then I'll be like, okay, Ronda's back. But so anyway, Shayna took on Sarah Logan, and she stomps the hell out of her arm immediately. Sarah can't compete, so the referee calls the match, and then the ring announcer says the winner is Sarah Logan, as Shayna just walks off and stomps to the back, and then they have an awkward commercial, and they come back, and then Cole's like, or the announcers are like, I guess it'd be Tom Phillips. He's the main announcer of Raw now. He's like, the ring announcer meant to announce Sarah Logan or Shayna Baszler as the winner. It was a bit of a mistake there. I'm like, so you let that mistake air and you didn't edit that out, or you didn't do another take and have the ring announcer say your winner and second to qualify Shayna Baszler. No, you just kept in the flub where he gave the win to Sarah Logan. It was just weird. It's just weird.
If anything, it's an audio like error, so you can just easily like map that over with, the winner is Shayna. So
it was just a weird segment. I mean, the match was very short. She immediately stomped on the arm. The bell rang. Shayna walked off in a fuss or like angry and threw some chairs, and Sarah Logan selling this stomp like death, like her arm was just destroyed, and she's announced as the winner, and then they go to commercial and they come back and go, it's actually Shayna who won. I was just like, whoa, what the heck? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
This is a tape show that you can edit. This should not be should not be any errors on the show with your budget and the amount of editing you could do. Anyway, we got Akira Tozawa against Austin Theory. They had a pretty good match. It was all right. Theory won with his, I guess, his version of a TKO. They call it the ATL, and he won.
What does that stand for?
I have no idea. They just called it the ATL. Like, I have no idea what it called. To me, the move's a TKO. I call it that because it's a TKO. It's a TKO. That's what it is. And they gave him a win because he has a big qualifying match next week, but I'm pretty sure he's going to lose it anyway. So it's whatever. After every one of these guys had a match who are involved in Zelina's camp. So after the match, Garza and Andrade came down and they just kind of beat up Tozawa, and then they Andrade took him out with the hammerlock DDT, and they triple teamed and laid him out, and then they did a shield pose. I shouldn't say a shield pose. It's that like that arm thing that Andrade's done since Zelina's.
That's
they all did.
Los Ingobernables thing.
Yeah, they do that. They do that pose together. Yeah, they started doing that on Raw this week. So then it went to commercial. Then Rey Mysterio's interviewed backstage, and he did a callback to 2010 when Kane cashed in the Money in the Bank on him and ended his World Championship reign within minutes. So he said this year at Money in the Bank, he's going to be the one to cash in the contract and become world champion again. But first, he's got to go through Murphy. But he says that he will be the future champion, and this year is his time. And they're pretty good stuff. Ray's just been cutting like these good babyface promos all of a sudden. Like, I never ever thought of him to be a great talker, but since he started feuding with Brock last year, he's just been. Maybe he doesn't follow a script,
I feel like that's the experience.
Yeah,
like he's had so many years, so
he's gotten better at the whole talking thing. Like he's just I'm kind of enthralled when he speaks. Usually with Ray, it's like he was pretty bad on the mic for the most part, but now I don't mind his interviews. They've been pretty good since
his mic work is more memorable than when he was like at his peak.
I know it's like. His last stand veteran run is like he's more known for talking now than he was in his prime, so it's interesting.
No, he was in Lucha Underground for a bit, and a majority of their show is like cutting promos backstage.
Yeah, so maybe he got some
probably
more chops.
Where he got
developed,
some experience,
or like polished his skills a bit. He was in Lucha Underground because he's been a better talker now that he's come back in WWE than he ever was in his first run.
For sure.
So,
yeah, totally agree.
Seth Rollins was doing these backstage segments where he's kind of moping backstage, but then he's like, "Oh, everybody needs to have faith in something," and he wants us to know that even though despite everything that's happened to them, he's still there for us. Our Messiah has truly risen. It was like these awkward things with Seth just like standing moping backstage with his coat on. Like they did like 3 of these, and so then Angel Garza had a match against Tahuti Miles. Is that like just another Performance Center guy?
Yeah, it's another PC.
Okay, so Garza got the quick win with the wing clipper. And then once again, Andrade and Austin Theory came down. They beat the shit out of Miles after the match. And then Andrade took this jobber out with his hammerlock DDT. And again, they did the
Los Ingobernables.
Yeah, the pose there, the arm thing. the arm pose.
There's gonna be like, if you think about it, like 4 like Los Ingobernables like groups now, like one in Ring of Honor, one in CMLL, one in New Japan, and then I guess now here.
Yeah, it's funny. I think yeah, it's like because there's Naito's group, and now Andrade's got a group, and
yeah, and then Roosh is in Ring of Honor.
Yep.
And then I don't know who's in charge of CMLL's version of it, the original Los Ingobernables, but yeah, that's 4 of them right there.
So then Drew McIntyre is interviewed, and he has to talk about Zelina's comments, because earlier in the night, I forgot to mention this, Zelina basically said that since Andrade has a match with Drew McIntyre tonight, Andrade was the one to take the NXT title from Drew, and that he will beat Drew McIntyre again tonight. So call back to their NXT history.
That's
where,
a good throwback.
And I mentioned that in that match, Andrade injured McIntyre and set him on the shelf because that was a match where Drew tore his bicep when he dropped the title.
Oh yeah,
so then,
that did.
So McIntyre points to the scar on his arm where he had surgery and says that was because of Andrade. And
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah,
wow.
and he says he looks at the scar at least once a week and he thinks about Andrade and how he almost took his whole career from him.
That's good promo work.
And Drew said they may have both had strong words tonight, but he promises he's going to beat Andrade with a Claymore, and he hopes that Andrade will lose 6 months of his career because of it. So good little callback there to their NXT days, because of all things to be calling back to, it's the NXT brand, right?
Yeah,
so,
because they never had a real conclusion because of that injury.
No, and then they sent Drew to be a heel on the main roster. It was weird.
Yeah, he even sounded commentary before he returned, like, I will be back to take the NXT title.
And then then they turned him heel, which was because he had such a great run as like the babyface getting redemption and finally winning a big belt. Like it was good. And then they had him be a heel with Dolph. I was like, that's.
You remember his first night back on NXT?
I do.
Crowd pop so damn loud.
Yo, his time in NXT is so short, but it was like really good though.
Oh
really
my God,
memorable.
yeah.
It showed that he could. It showed that he could be. He has babyface, more than babyface potential. I think he's better off and more unique as a big tall Scotsman who finally got his big chance, and he's getting redemption after his first run failed. I think that's a good character to have. I think that's something people can root behind. And once they started doing it on Raw, like they did in NXT, he got over. Wow, big shock there than just being another big heel. You know how many big heels they have? A lot. He was just another guy as a heel, but now he's found his groove once again as a babyface, which is what NXT used him for. He was never a heel in NXT. He was always the fan favorite, so now they're finally putting him in that position again. So we built up to the next Money in the Bank qualifying match, and it was Kairi Sane against Nia Jax, and I knew Kairi was getting squashed. Because, as you said, Gabe, she's on the way out.
It's funny that she hasn't been released, you know.
Yeah, not officially.
How do you? Oh my! It just drives me nuts how they ruin people. Because she's fantastic, that girl.
Yeah, so Nia just annihilated her, beat her around the ring, gave her some power spots, and pinned her after a Samoan drop, and became the third woman to qualify for Money in the Bank. Then Charlotte comes out and says we're going to have a history lesson tonight with the Queen. Back at the Royal Rumble, she won the Royal Rumble and had a few choices. Becky Lynch or Bayley. But she said she'd been there and done that a million times. So neither of them were a challenge, and neither of them were new. So instead, she went after the next big thing, Rhea Ripley. After Rhea provoked her with a challenge in the first place. Which she said that Rhea was ballsy to challenge her, but now she stands in front of us as our new NXT Women's Champion. She beat the next big thing, making her, once again, the biggest thing. And last year, Vince knew she was the biggest thing, and that's why he chose her to be in the main event of WrestleMania. And this year, Rhea Ripley chose her because she wants to be her. But Rhea lacks humility, and there are levels to this. There's always going to be someone bigger, better, faster, and she's going to remind all the women of NXT that there are levels. And up next is none other than Io Shirai. And she says she had a really impressive performance to earn her shot in the ladder match, but lesson 1 is up next, that everyone eventually bows down to the Queen.
Yeah,
so,
more like she's going to bow down to Io. I've been on the Io train for so long.
I'm on the Io train, but but you know they never give her the belt. She gets a championship match, they have a good match out of it, and she loses. It's happened like 3 times.
If they do it this time, she should just ask for her release and go somewhere else because they need to make her champion.
Me and Brayden talked last week. Like, if Io loses this,
it's done. It's over.
Like, her character's like no more.
Maybe they've been waiting for Charlotte. They had this plan for a while, and then her beating Charlotte would be like, oh, she beat Charlotte. Then boom, it'll propel her to the next level.
It would be a big win for her, but I just don't see it happening. I see her I see they're popping a rating with an Io Charlotte title match. Charlotte retains, and that leads into Rhea and Charlotte doing more together, and Rhea eventually beats her again and gets her win back. That's how I see it.
Sounds like.
She's got a better moonsault than Charlotte.
She does, but it'll matter for one match where she misses it, gets locked in the figure 8, taps out, and then Rhea Ripley resumes her feud with Charlotte. You know it's coming.
Hopefully, no, I know. No, I'm optimistic. Io.
Okay, you can be optimistic all you want. I lost my optimism a year ago when she jobbed to Shayna like 3 times in a row. So,
on the side note, this promo like made Charlotte look like $1 million and more. Like,
oh, she's got like that flair, no pun intended, or maybe a little bit intended. But she can talk a bit when she's given. She clearly is a better heel than a babyface.
like I was watching this, imagining like, okay, if I had never watched wrestling before, this would make me like the most invested into this Charlotte Flair character. Like, holy crap, that was a really good package for her.
Yeah, I thought she did a good job. It's a good promo, and I look forward to seeing the matches she can have in NXT.
Yeah, but my thing is, if you guys don't think Io beats her, who beats her?
Rhea in a rematch.
Yeah, because Rhea and Charlotte were back and forth at Mania.
She's out. They're saying she's out until late August with her visa.
That was a rumor. It was never true, and she's still in the States.
Yeah, she's still like posting stuff on her social medias.
And she's still in the States. She didn't get deported.
Well, okay, but let's say that is maybe she hasn't got deported, maybe because of the virus. But let's say she does get deported.
But that was
has to go back.
She pretty much has. It's been confirmed that she hasn't had visa issues. She'll be involved in the NXT tapings coming up. She will be involved in the television. She ain't getting sent home. She ain't getting benched.
So other than Charlotte and Rhea, who would you think could take the title? Because Rhea is going to be going up to the main roster. So the
maybe.
The NXT title is going to have to go back to somebody in NXT.
Yeah, I don't see her getting fully called up. I mean, I see her sticking around for a little bit longer. Like I think
Charlotte should stick around in NXT with the belt.
We don't know where it's gonna go. We can debate about it till the cows come home, but we will find out in the weeks to come. I see Io just getting a title shot, losing, and it's the same fucking song and dance because I don't,
Yeah, it looks like that's gonna happen, but I will be more than happy to be wrong.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to be wrong too. I'd be more than happy to be wrong. I think she deserves the belt more than just about any other woman on the NXT roster. So. Anyway, Lashley had No Way Jose's final match. Lashley got a quick win, and during this match, Lana was again barking orders at Lashley like she did at WrestleMania, and then Bobby just gets out of the ring and basically tells her to just shut up, just yells at her. And then he gets in the ring, does what he wants to do, and he finishes No Way Jose off the way he wanted to do, and not the way Lana was barking at him, and he gets the win, and Lana shuts up and just kind of stands there awkwardly, and they're building that tension more.
Did they walk out together for the entrance?
Yep, they did.
That's weird. Didn't they have like a whole like promo after Mania, like, "Hey, I need a new wife" or something?
Yeah, but I guess like Lana, they acted like Lana never heard that, and I guess she just never watched the replay. Maybe they want us to believe that. So, yeah. Again, Seth Rollins is backstage. He says he will stamp out all doubt tonight. Again, he's just standing there with his coat on backstage. And the Viking Raiders had a match against Ricochet and Cedric. This was actually very good stuff. I thought it was a good little empty arena match. Good little tag team bout. A lot of athleticism. A lot of big spots were done. Yeah, and we've seen Ricochet work with the Raiders before. It's always good stuff. And so... Ricochet, of course, gets caught in the Raiders' finish. What do they call that again? The big
Viking experience.
Viking experience. That's it. Where
I will never forget. That
where Eric tosses. I can't believe I have to call him that. I should call him Rowe or
Hanson. And Rowe
I should call him Rowe. Where Ray Rowe just tosses Ricochet, then Hanson gives him the big power slam, and they got the pin. But it was a good match. It was a very good match, actually, for like nobody being there. These guys worked very hard. I'll give them credit. They worked very hard. How long was the match? Oh, it was like at least I think it was a commercial break long, but I would say at least it went 10 minutes before each. I would say it was close to 20 minutes. I'd say it was at least 15. Good stuff. So the Street Profits were interviewed, and Bianca's there, and so they talk about Vikings for a while because maybe the Raiders will be next to have that shot because they never did that match in NXT, even though they should have. They never did a proper tag team title match between War Raiders and the Street Profits. So they cut their little wacky SNL style promo, and Belair's disgusted with the jokes that they're doing, and it was a little cringy, but it's like what they write for the Street Profits these days. It's, you know, they do more backstage wacky shit than they wrestle, so it comes to the territory. To territory. Then we had Drew against Andrade, and Andrade's got his whole camp. Zelina, Austin Theory, and Angel Garza are all out there. They have a fun little match. It was pretty short, though. It was short. It didn't go as long as I expected to. But Drew is able to overcome the interference. He hits that backwards Alabama slam thing on Andrade, and then as Andrade gets up, he counts the 3-2-1, nails Andrade with a Claymore, and wins the match. But then immediately after the match, Seth Rollins' music hits, and Garza hits McIntyre from behind, and Seth then gets in the ring and delivers a super kick, and then hits him with a stomp. And then Drew gets up a bit, and then Seth hits a second stomp and stands over McIntyre to end the show. So clearly, the Monday Night Messiah going to be Drew McIntyre's first program for the belt.
Yeah, it's weird that they're already him the challenger. I thought they were going to wait a while, but
well, they got Money in the Bank. That's coming up. I gotta have an opponent for that show, and clearly it's probably gonna be Seth. I mean,
I feel like Seth, maybe if SummerSlam were to be a thing, maybe save that for those two. But I was thinking
him up so much.
Yeah, and I was thinking Andrade could be a good first contender.
I thought that's where they were gonna go. I thought they were gonna have like the interference, and Andrade fluke wins, but then he gets a win over the world champion, so he gets a pay-per-view match out of it. That's where I thought they were going, and then they just beat him and had Seth show up. So,
yeah, this is weird because Seth has been going strong lately as a Messiah. So
yeah, now he's still the Messiah. He's just, I guess, going after the title.
He only has Murphy now, right?
Yeah, and even then Murphy hasn't been showing up with them. I mean, when was the last time you seen those two on TV together? I can't remember the last time they were on the... I don't remember them ever being... Were they ever together in the Performance Center since they've been taping from there? I can't remember a single segment with the two of them together. So...
No,
I guess Seth is just going solo again after building up a whole stable for him for a while. I know, it's weird. I guess we'll see where it goes tomorrow night. Then Wednesday we had Dynamite, and of course Jericho and Shivani both on commentary. They did a great job. They did a great job the week before, so they're keeping them as the duo. We get a great highlight package of Colt Cabana, how he's talking about how people kind of think he's a comedy guy, but he is a well-oiled machine who has wrestled around the world. He's been everywhere: Japan, India, England, Germany, and he's not looking past Archer. He's a huge man, but he has beaten big dudes throughout his whole career, and he says his goal will be to hold the TNT Championship, and it's all he's been thinking about. And so then we have a little. I think the Snake did a little promo for Lance Archer, talking about how he had to be sent to Japan to rebuild himself, and he was basically exiled for America and sent to Japan to find a living, as if all the American promoters turned their backs on him, and so now he's back to prove them wrong, and now he's pissed off. And man, Jake can still talk. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
he him up so good.
I like this duo. I like Jake as his manager, and Archer's a big fucking intimidating dude.
I was kind of iffy on this duo because isn't Jake almost the same size as Archer?
Yeah, but Archer's still a little bit taller, Yeah,
so, Archer's.
I think it's more like Jake is just his kind of his mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Lance
doesn't talk. Yeah.
It's like he's kind of like what Heyman does for Brock. So I'm fine with that. And then Lance Archer and Colt Cabana had their opening round tournament match to open the show. Colt did a lot of athletic stuff. Archer worked the old school heel style, and they had a good little opening bout to open the show. In the end, though, Archer But he basically hit like a pounce on Colt. Like he ran at him and like collided in him, kind of like I don't know. This is pretty old school, but I'll make the reference. Any of you remember a guy named Monty Brown from TNA?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So it was like that type move. He just kind of ran at him. It's not quite like a spear. He just kind of shoulder tackled him, and
he's got like 3 different finishers. He's used like 3 different finishers so far on Dynamite.
Yeah, well, he hit a choke slam, and then the blackout finish is what he used to get the win over Colt here. So he moves on to round 2 of the TNT tournament, and I think he's going to be in the finals with Cody. I think that's where they're going.
Yeah, 100%. They're building it up.
I think that's where they're going.
But my thing is, I understand that they're building that up for something, but my thing is they're kind of costing Darby Allin a chance at being, because I honestly think he should be the champion.
Yeah,
He'll be champion one day, but I don't think he should be the first champion.
I think they're gonna save that for Cody, man. I think Cody's winning that belt. I think so.
You think he'll beat Lance Archer?
I do.
Yeah.
I do think he'll beat him.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I do. I do think he will beat him.
I think Lance Archer. I think you're gonna. Personally, I think he'll beat Cody, but I think it'll be in dominant quick fashion. I think you're
really
gonna go on to,
Whoa, that's wow, that's a big prediction.
I think you're gonna see Lance Archer go undefeated for a long time. I said, like, I don't think when he does lose, it's gonna be to somebody like Moxley or Jake Hager, who's as big as him, or Brody Lee. He's not gonna lose to Cody.
Yeah, but Cody's a very popular babyface who can't go for the world title, and this is like the only championship he can get.
Ever since the Jericho match, I think Cody is going to go on a downward spiral, and then they're going to maybe turn him heel.
Well, he already had it. He lost to Jericho, which means he can never challenge for the world title again.
Yeah,
Then he became MJF's bitch. So this is where he kind of rises up and does something.
Yeah, I can't. Like, my personal opinion, I think they're going to have Archer undefeated for a while.
We'll find out. Yeah. He's definitely making it to the final of this tournament, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Britt Baker does a little promo thing. She does a rundown of the rules of being a role model, one of which is to always fight fair. And she says Hikaru Shida did not fight fair last week because she broke her nose.
Can we talk about this is probably she's so great as a heel, man.
Yeah, I can't believe they had her as a babyface for a while.
Oh my god, she's so good.
Who could forget when she talked about like what chubby Whataburger faces and the whole stadium like booed her louder than MJF ever got booed?
Yeah.
Like I was like, whoa, these people like you don't diss Whataburger in this state. Holy!
Did you see her when she fought Shido after she broke her nose there?
I can't remember, but I remember her getting her nose broken and the match being really good, but I don't really remember much beyond that.
Yeah, she went backstage and they asked her how she's doing, and she stuck out her tongue and it was full of blood, and she goes, "That's how I'm doing," and she walked off. And it was
her character's been pretty good. Just be this pretentious dentist character, like that's just.
Well, I mean, her and Adam Cole are fantastic.
I know.
You got the heel in Adam Cole and then the heel in her.
Two natural heels together, no less. Yeah, so they had Ariel Helwani hype up the Jake Hager versus Jon Moxley empty arena main event, and then we went to commercial. Then Britt Baker basically squashed Cassandra Golden, and we get another rundown of tonight's title match, including Mike Goldberg, who's a commentator for Bellator, and actor Ronald Funches. I don't know what he's famous for.
I like how they did this, though. I like how
they did it throughout the thing.
Pumped the matchup, right?
And of course, we got a promo for Double or Nothing, which is set to be live on May 23rd. And then they hype up the Inner Circle doing the Bubbly Bunch, and it's them all, and it's them doing all being on FaceTime chat together, and it's all about shit talking the Elite. So it was pretty funny stuff. Sammy Guevara took on Shug D. Is what they're calling him this week.
The worst wrestler name ever.
It's a god awful name. All Jericho did was bury him on commentary the whole time.
Called him Pineapple Pete.
He called him everything under the sun. Talked about how he's a goof, and I mean, if you're Shug D, you're gonna have a hard time wrestling again after this, because holy fuck.
The week before when I think it was the week when Guevara and Spears took on Cody and Darby Allin.
Oh yeah, that's a few weeks ago now. That's like 3 weeks ago now.
Shug D was in the audience.
Oh, was he?
And he held Sammy for no reason, and Cody, like, popped him a couple times in the stomach.
Right.
And Jericho was like, "Who is this idiot in the audience? I've never seen him backstage."
So actually, believe it or not, Shug D kind of gives Sammy a bit of a competitive match for a while.
Yeah.
And then he ends up hitting good old Shug with a running high knee and ends up getting the torture knee for the win. And then after the match, Sammy cuts a promo and says he could go for a few more rounds, but allow him to spoil what will happen with the TNT title tournament. He says he's going to beat the shit out of Darby Allin in the first round, and Sammy wants to give a demonstration of that, and he continues to beat down Shug now after the match, and then Darby runs out for the save, and Sammy flees. So I'm kind of looking forward to their opening round match, especially, it's going to be a lot of fun.
A good one.
For sure. And we had Kip Sabian take on Chuck Taylor. Now, I thought this was a pretty good little back-and-forth match for a while. They got a decent amount of time. Everything looked good. I guess you had to kind of give Sabian a bit of something. I would have had him actually pin Chuck with, like, a legit finisher, because basically Jimmy Havoc beats up Orange Cassidy at ringside after this long competitive match, and then Penelope, which is Sabian's girlfriend, she hit a Hurricane Rana on Chuck from the top rope, so kind of like the Zelina Vega spot that Zelina used to do in NXT, and she might still do it now, but I remember it particularly in NXT. And then as Chuck kind of recovered from getting Hurricane Rana'd by a woman, Sabian just kind of fluke pinned him. Why wouldn't you at least let Sabian hit him with like a finishing move? Why do you have to get a win with a fluke pin just to show that his girl needs to win his battles ever more?
Yeah, that's I think that's the way they're going with him, that he's going to be that fluke kind of wrestler. That's
but like, I mean, the guy, I would have had him like hit a finisher. He's got a big match with like Dustin Rhodes coming up.
Yeah.
That we all know he's gonna lose, but like it's a battle for a potential championship reign. You think he'd give him a bit? You think he'd give him at least like a win where he hits his finish on Chuck Taylor, not just a fluke roll up. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he's a heel. He wins with a chicken shit way with his girlfriend helping him. And
why did Jimmy Havoc come in? Like, I was confused.
I think Orange Cassidy just kind of did the pockets thing to him, and then like he just showed off at ringside being like the sloth, and Jimmy was pissed. He just got mad. Or like, I might go back and look at this here. So I kind of forget why he got all pissed off. It's just I think he got mad with Orange Cassidy at ringside and decided to take him out. And then he
at the end they were all hugging each other, right? Kip and
yeah, it's like they aligned Jimmy Havoc with Kip and Penelope.
Yeah, they need Jimmy Havoc to do something. So
I mean, they're both British, right?
Yep.
So I guess that's why they're partnering up. I mean, it's weird. Like, their characters clash. Like, one's like the masochist, like Prince of Darkness, and the other's like a chicken shit like boyfriend. Right?
Yeah.
So
very different. But I mean, hey, if you have the same accent, you can team, right? So like,
that sounds about right.
So Sean Spears squashed Justin Law. It was a quick match, and Spears got the win.
Who do you guys think his partner is going to be?
I have.
He's been every time there's a tag team match out going on.
Yeah, it's with him and Tully are looking for his partner, right? That's the thing. Yeah. Like, who will be Sean Spears' partner? I have no idea. Obviously, maybe they're going to debut somebody. I guess I have no idea.
Maybe, yeah.
So next week on Dynamite, they hype up Kip Sabian and Dustin Rhodes in the first round for the TNT title, as well as Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara. Both opening round matches are going to be taking place this week. And then also next week, Orange Cassidy set to make his Dynamite debut in singles action against Jimmy Havoc. And then they also said that Kenny Omega will be in action as well. But up next was the AEW World Championship match. It was an no-holds-barred empty arena bout. Jon Moxley defending against Jake Hager. I had no idea how this match was going to go. I think it went a little too long. Maybe about like 10.
That's what I thought too.
If they'd cut off 10 minutes, I would say this would be the best empty arena brawl match that has been done between the two promotions. I thought it was better than the Gargano Ciampa cinematic stuff, and it was certainly, I thought, a lot better than even Edge and Orton's fucking long, tiresome brawl that they had that everybody hated, that I like because it was Edge's return match, so maybe nostalgia played some bit for me there, but I thought this was a better match than that, but I still thought it dragged out in spots. If they'd cut 10 minutes off, it'd have been probably the best empty arena brawl that any of the two promotions, American promotions, have put on. They basically, because at the beginning it was like there was some chain wrestling going on, like Jake was just trying to out wrestle Moxley, but then Moxley used his MMA training and was able to hang with Hager on the mat surprisingly for a while. I thought that was a cool little spot. Then eventually they got into brawling with the chairs and using chairs and this, that, and the other. But there were just some moments where it went on a little too long. But I thought the finish was very good, where Moxley ends up being able to hit the paradigm shift on Hager onto a chair to get the win. But with Jake Hager taking a loss like this, and now he's lost a title match, and he's lost his first AEW match. I thought it would save him for Moxley on pay-per-view. Who the hell challenges Moxley after he beats an MMA fighter? Hey?
I guess.
I still think Pac is up next, or Pac, whatever.
Well, what if he's stuck in the UK because of quarantine and he can't go, and he wasn't involved in any of the tapings so far? Doesn't seem like he's...
But that's what AEW is doing. You haven't seen
Hangman's in quarantine too.
Yeah, but I mean, Hangman lives where they tape the QT Marshall. He lives in the same city.
Yeah, but he says he's refusing to go to the tapings because he doesn't want to get sick.
Yeah, and that's his safety.
And he hasn't been involved in any of the tapings yet. Neither has Pac. So it's like, who that's been involved in these tapings is going to be challenging Moxley in the weeks to come? Like, I don't know. Like, I thought Hager would have been definitely safe for Double or Nothing, but they did it here on TV and they beat him. Because I thought there might have... I mean, it's early to take the belt off of Moxley, but I don't know about Jake suffering a loss like that right away. I don't know about that. What do you guys think about Jake Hager taking a loss in a championship match?
I honestly thought the match would end like
a draw. Yeah, like protect both guys.
Yeah, I was thinking of a draw too, but he just lost to a regular like Dirty Deeds. It wasn't even the elevated Death Rider one.
Yeah, but hey, we can say he did fall on a chair. It was on a chair. Yeah. He hit him on. He hit the DDT on a chair, so it's like, yeah. But like he did, he just got pinned by the world champion's finish, and he got beat. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know what you do with him now.
Draw would perfect because everyone was just hyping it up, and then I would have called a draw.
I honestly think, I mean, probably not right now and not anytime soon, but I think after a while you're gonna see him and Sammy probably team up for like a tag team.
No, they got Pride and Powerful there too that could do the tag team stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, I watch Sammy's vlogs every week on YouTube, and Jake Hager's in it like every week, and they're always backstage. So I mean, if it's like that, and every time they're on AEW, they're always together.
I guess the next potential match could be what's his name, the Exalted one, Brody Lee.
He could do that.
He's in the program right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and they've had a stare down too, so.
Yeah, so that's my prediction. Just have Brody Lee already go for the championship title.
Yeah, they could definitely do that, and they've worked with each other before in WWE, and
now they have their full creativity.
Yeah, but like anyway, back to the match quality. I thought this was the best match on weekly television of the last week. I enjoyed it the most out of anything on Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I thought this was the best match of the week as far as content goes. I don't know what you guys thought, if you've seen any of the wrestling for the last week, but this was my favorite match of the week. Now again, it's not gonna be match of the year or anything like that. But as far as like what I thought was the best match on television this week, Dynamite's main event gets that.
Yeah.
So any last thoughts on Dynamite, or are we gonna move right on to NXT?
It was funny for Jericho, and that's all I gotta say
for
that.
Move on to.
Yeah, no, I still think Dynamite every week is the best show on television. I think they're taped shows, but they keep on improving to me.
Oh yeah, it's surprising on how well. I mean, like they're like,
yeah,
they brought people into the crowd first, and then I like it a lot.
Yeah,
It still
I mean,
feels like a wrestling show, not like an
Yeah.
empty, awkward like
Yeah,
mat wrestle.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's I don't know. They were really getting fired before they had to no longer do shows in front of people, and now they're doing the better shows in front of nobody. So it's like
Yeah, exactly.
it's the show that like to me it's the must see show of the week.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the show that I tune into every week.
Yeah. So then we go into NXT and they do a recap of the 6-woman ladder match from last week in Gargano and Ciampa, and how Candice turned on Ciampa and helped her husband, as if, like, why would she not side with her husband in that battle?
Yeah,
You know, like. So we open up the show with Finn Balor against Fabian Eichner with Marcel Bartel from Imperium.
That was a good match.
It was a pretty good match, and Balor ended up winning, and he basically said into the camera that, like, whenever the time may be, him and Walter will eventually meet up. But that wouldn't be the last we'd see of Finn on this year's
I'll
show.
put more input when we get to that.
Yeah, you'll put more input when we get to that? Okay.
Yeah.
So backstage, Velveteen is waiting on a couch for Adam Cole, the NXT champion, to arrive at the arena. Apparently, he and Cole are set to have their face-to-face meeting tonight, and also Charlotte will address the NXT women's division right after the break. So back from the break, we were told that Tegan Nox will get an opportunity to take on Raquel Gonzalez later tonight. And it's yeah, so it's the first time they're gonna have a legit match, I guess, since the street fight that happened between Kai and Nox in Portland. And then Tom Phillips throws us to a video package of Charlotte Flair celebrating her victory at WrestleMania. Charlotte says that she will dominate 3 different eras of sports entertainment: the past, the present, and the future. And Charlotte talks about all of the women that she has beaten in the WWE. Charlotte then says that she wanted to come to NXT to run through all of the women on the NXT roster. She shouts at Rhea Ripley, Mia Yim, and Candice LeRae as the women that she hopes to have matches with, and wants to give Mia Yim a shot in particular. She says that
I think this is what I was talking about earlier. I got too confused. I said this was what made her look like $1 million.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, both promos were really good, so it's like they both were selling you on NXT, but at least the one on Raw made you want to like tune into NXT to see this one, I would hope.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, so I like her work in both shows. It kind of, makes the division important and all that sort of stuff. So she says that Regal can line up every woman on the roster and she will run through them all. So Aaliyah took on Xia Li in a match, and
again, oh my god,
yeah, they had another match.
That's another girl that NXT doesn't use well, is Xia Li. I think she's got a lot of potential, that girl.
I think they should have released Aaliyah. I mean, like, I know it's rude to say like, oh, this person should have been released, but I really was surprised that Aaliyah is still sticking around.
She's
and
still
is
there.
being used on NXT TV in 2020.
Her name's not Aaliyah. Her name is Carmella 2.0.
Yeah, pretty much. So
Yeah.
she hits a spinning kick on Aaliyah and then covers her for the 3, and Aaliyah takes a loss, and it's whatever.
How many matches have they had together?
I don't know.
Two?
I don't need to count it. I don't need to go back and figure out how many times have they wrestled on TV in the last we'll say 6 months. Enough, right? Like,
Yeah,
more than that.
so we get a video package hyping up the upcoming tournament to crown the new interim NXT Cruiserweight Champion, Drake Maverick, still very much being advertised.
Oh my god, everyone's for Drake Maverick for this now. Like, even Tom Phillips was like, Drake Maverick has a lot to prove in this tournament.
Yeah, now people are going to be really wanting him to win, but like it's like we clearly know he's not, because he's not with them anymore. And so up next, we get a matchup from Group B, which has Isaiah Swerve Scott take on Akira Tozawa. But before that, Matt Riddle is on the phone with Pete Dunne, and Riddle is trying to get Dunne to tell him who his tag team partner will be tonight, because apparently Pete Dunne's going to pick who Matt Riddle teams with since he's not there. Apparently, only Dunne knows who Riddle's partner is, but Matt just doesn't know, so he's really wanting Pete to tell him. But they keep it unclear whether Pete actually revealed to Matt who his partner was, so that keeps you, invested to see who will team with Matt Riddle tonight to defend the tag titles. So then, Isaiah Swerve Scott took on Akira Tozawa in a tournament match for the Cruiserweight title, and these guys got a decent amount of time. And surprisingly enough, Tozawa hit his top rope senton at the end of the match, and he got the win in the tournament. Isaiah Swerve Scott's kind of like the more recent signee, and he's
more hyped than
but Tozawa got the win here, so I was pretty shocked by that.
Jeez.
What do you guys think about that? I was pretty surprised by that.
I just think that Isaiah needs to get his old theme song back, because his like new theme song is pretty trash. Like, I don't get the vibes that he used to give when he like first debuted on NXT TV.
Yeah.
But he should have won.
Yeah, I would have had him winning.
Because Cesaro already had his like Sunlight with the title itself when 205 Live was like.
He's more
still in front of the
acrobatic
crowd.
too.
Yeah, he's what, Shane fucking Strickland. Like, he's got so much to prove, and taking the first loss in the whole like Group A B round robin tournament is kind of weird. But I guess he can still win 2 more matches. I don't know.
We'll find out. So Tozawa is asked about how he feels about his victory, and he says that he has to keep fighting and keep winning, and then he stares into the camera. And backstage, Velveteen Dream is still on his purple couch, waiting for Adam Cole. And then after the break, Tegan Nox took on Raquel Gonzalez, and right before the match, we got a video package hyping up El Hijo del Fantasma.
Oh my god, I was surprised.
Well, he's in the tournament. Yeah. He's in the tournament.
Yeah.
So he's debuting in the tournament.
Yeah.
What a way to debut.
I seen him in Impact when I was watching it back then,
and
he's a good talent. I just don't know how far he'll go in WWE.
That's interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, like he's not the talent WWE would sign.
But he's
more like Impact and Indie and possibly AEW. But yeah, he's not WWE talent.
Well, Adam Cole's there. He came from the Indies.
Yeah, but he's like, I don't even know how to explain it. He's like, he's almost like Colt Cabana, but lucha. Like
he's like a comedy lucha guy.
Yeah, he's a comedy lucha guy. He's got Colt Cabana's. They got almost a similar moveset. He's maybe a little bit more high flying.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's just a talent that I would never thought would see in WWE.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of shot they give him when he actually has a match.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, because I'm kind of hyped for him. Like, I really didn't expect him to be in this tournament.
Never thought he would sign there.
So Gonzalez and Knox had their match, and they had their bout, and it's fine. Nothing too bad, but like, it's nothing you're ever gonna write home about either, right? So Gonzalez puts Knox at the top rope and kicks her in the midsection, and then Dakota Kai takes a cheap shot on Knox while the referee is distracted. Then, of all people, Shotzi Blackheart comes out and attacks Dakota Kai from behind, so it takes her out of the equation. And then Gonzalez goes for that chokeslam she's been using on Shotzi, but then Knox takes advantage of the distraction and rolls Raquel up for the 3 count. So she didn't take the shiniest wizard; she just got rolled up for the pin. But Shotzi Blackheart helping Tegan Nox win a match. I guess it's gonna be a tag team program now. That's weird.
Yeah, because they've been pushing Shotzi like a lot.
Yeah, they're really high on
signed. Yeah,
they had her
even eliminating
Shayna from that Contenders Battle Royal, and yeah.
And she was in the Rumble too, so they're really riding high with Shotzi.
So they're having her involved in this Tegan, Raquel, Dakota thing now, I guess. I think it's leading to a tag match, I would think.
I mean, what else could they put her in,
So we also see a tweet from Johnny Gargano from earlier in the day when Gargano said, "I can't wait to see what Tommaso has to say." That's what he put on. That's what he put on Twitter. And then we are told that we will see a video package of Keith Lee's journey to NXT after the next break. So after the break, we get the video package with Keith Lee talking about his upbringing, his devotion to pursue wrestling. He talks about the sacrifices he endured, including a time of being homeless to get to where he is today, and everything that he has accomplished in WWE so far. Good little package on the NXT North American champion. So we had
what a great guy Keith Lee is.
Yeah. Just
we're all basking in his glory.
Basking in that glory, of course.
Yeah.
Because for he is limitless, right? Like
he is limitless indeed. Wow.
So then we had Sam Shaw, Dexter Lumis against Tahuti Miles. So that guy who was also on Raw this week. And Lumis gets a quick win. Like, of all people to be in NXT now, I would have never thought Sam Shaw would be a guy that they'd sign and have.
You know what? If you want to compare him to anybody in wrestling around the world, he is their Sami Callihan.
I suppose you could make that comparison.
Yeah, but they need to play the cards. I hope they don't. I hope they use him good because I hope they use him
Yeah.
well. Sorry.
He
But,
looks really good right now as a creepy looking.
They were using, when there was crowds in wrestling, they were using him a lot on the NXT live circuit. And Triple H had an interview and said he was most impressed by him, and hopefully they can use him a lot more on NXT TV in the future.
I mean, his stuff on Impact is also really entertaining. Like, I didn't like Impact around the time Sam Shaw was there, but his programs with Christy Hemme and Ken
Anderson,
Kennedy, yeah, I was like, wow, he's like a new type of wrestler. Like, yeah, he's crazy. So I can't wait for him to be used properly one day.
Yeah,
hopefully. In NXT.
If he gets used properly, that's still very much wait and see, right? So, but I mean, it's better to be used properly in NXT than Raw or SmackDown. So at least he's got a shot there.
At least they gave him the win. That's never a bad thing.
No, I mean, I would hope he'd be able to beat a guy who's just been signed to the PC and never had much television time. I'd hope he'd be able to beat somebody like that. So anyway, backstage, Velveteen Dream is still waiting for Adam Cole, and we are told that Dream and Cole will meet face to face after the break. So we get back with the break, and Adam Cole's still chilling at home with his title, and he says that he won't show up because Dream doesn't deserve a title shot. Cole says there's no one in all of the WWE who deserves a shot at his NXT championship. So Cole says that he should be focusing on how the Undisputed Era are going to recapture the NXT Tag Team titles later tonight. And then we go back to the arena, and Velveteen's music hits, and there's a podium at the top of the ramp, and Dream calls out Cole. Dream says that he thinks a lot of Cole, but he knows that Adam Cole is actually the last reigning champion left in the Undisputed Era. And then as Dream's cutting his promo, Finn Balor is shown standing behind him. And at the end of Dream's promo, Finn approaches him, and Balor says that he doesn't know Dream, and he doesn't like him, but takes issue with Dream calling Cole the greatest NXT champion ever. So Dream had mentioned that in the promo before Finn came out. Balor says that Dream better watch what he says, or he will have a date with the Prince. So Velveteen calls out Balor and issues a challenge for next week. And if he and Finn doesn't answer, and he walks to the back, so he basically leaves Dream hanging, and then Dream snaps and the lights go out. So I mean, I think they confirmed that they actually are having a match on Wednesday this week.
This is
there's
weird. So many positives and negatives, because I've always wanted to see Finn and Dream go at it, but they're still having their own separate storylines, and now they're going to cross over, and they're both big on NXT still. Like, what's going to happen when one of them takes a loss,
Yeah.
No one too.
Yeah, and like
they were just building the Walter and Balor match.
Yeah, and
it's so weird.
And then Dreams with Cole, and they're both big stars in their own right. If one of them takes a loss, then that's a very weird instance in front of nobody too. Like this feud should be in front of people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it should not be thrown in the midst when Dream is very much feuding with Adam Cole and Balor is very much feuding with Walter. Like, why are you just throwing them together for no reason?
This is more of a negative than a positive.
I think it's just maybe they think, Dream versus Balor might pop a rating on Wednesday. This match might have people interested for 1 week of NXT. I don't know.
On paper, it sounds great, but it's just very poor execution with what those two are going through right now.
Yeah, it's just you're cross-pollinating two storylines that don't need to be cross-pollinated. So
I'm very scared of what's happening next, but who knows?
And then after the break, again, Bobby Fish and Roddy come out, and they're going to take on Matt Riddle and his mystery partner for the NXT Tag Team titles. And then back from the commercial, Malcolm Bivens issues a challenge to whoever wins the NXT Tag Team titles. That's the manager for that new tag team.
Yeah, they're getting hyped up, those guys.
I still don't know the name of their.
I just call them the two big Indians.
We'll just call them that. Rinku and Sorav or whatever, and that basically he was.
Like I said, the two big Indians.
The two big Indian guys are being hyped up, and they were getting pushed towards the tag titles. So that's that. Then next week, Shotzi Blackheart will indeed team with Tegan Nox to take on Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez in a tag team match. And then we have the main event, and Matt Riddle comes out for it, and his surprise partner Pete Dunne ends up revealing on the Titantron before the match happens is in fact Timothy Thatcher, which was a bit of a surprise to me. They just
that was
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, and then so Fish and Strong take on Riddle and Thatcher. So Thatcher's like Pete Dunne's substitute to defend the tag titles, and they had a very good little match for the tag team titles to end the show. And Thatcher is the one who gets the win for the team. He locks in an armbar on Roderick Strong, and Strong ends up submitting, and Thatcher ends up winning the tag title match to help Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne retain their tag team titles. So
like, what's next for Timothy Thatcher?
I know,
because I really thought he would align with Imperium, because he made Ring Conf really popular.
Yeah, I would have expected him to be a heel and not a babyface, to be honest. But
he can do whatever. He is Timothy Thatcher, and he definitely showed everyone at home who the hell he was. So
I mean, like, helping one of NXT's biggest stars retain the tag titles, and you're the one who gets the submission, that's kind of making an impression. So
Yeah.
as long as they follow up on the momentum and have him get big wins, I think that's a good first start for Mr. Thatcher here tonight.
I feel like they're gonna give him some squash matches if they're gonna keep him on television then, because I don't know who he would program with right after that monumental win.
Maybe they do him and Roddy, for just because he tapped him out, and Roderick Strong is embarrassed about tapping out, and maybe they continue that and they have a bit of a feud, because I mean,
because he did beat, that'd be a good program. And Dexter Loomis was in the back for no reason, right?
Yeah.
That was like in one shot, and like only one shot.
So then after the last segment of the show, Tommaso Ciampa is backstage, and he stares down the camera, and he's all alone, and
segment of
and he says that he is done with Johnny, he's done with Candice, he's done with all of it. He says that they agreed when it was over, and he congratulates Johnny Gargano, and he says, "You were the better man." But before he can say any more, Killer Kross, who we seen for like a brief moment during the ending of the Gargano Ciampa stuff last week, attacks Ciampa from behind. And a collection of sounds takes place off camera, but Ciampa is eventually shown unconscious, laying on the ground. And Killer Kross stands over him. You can just see his boots. And then he gets down, looks Ciampa right in his face, and says, "Tick tock," as NXT goes off the air. So this is Ciampa's next feud, and what a way to bring in Killer Kross. That's like one of NXT's peripheral main eventers, and that's your first program. That must be a big sign of confidence for Killer Kross.
I'm gonna lay it out there for you guys, and you probably are gonna disagree, but this is the closest they'll ever get again in WWE to another Undertaker.
I'm just wondering
he's not gonna be Undertaker. He's not going to, have the music and that. But he is the closest thing in superstar that is going to be compared to the Undertaker.
Maybe, but like we had Aleister Black and we had Bray, and
no, I don't mean the dark thing. He's gonna have his own thing with TikTok and the whatever he does. I'm just saying, superstar. When Undertaker started, his popularity was unbelievable.
Yeah, well, it took a while to get there. Yeah, that gimmick was a risk at the time, and then ended up paying off.
I don't think he lasts long in NXT. I'm gonna say probably maybe by Survivor Series next year, he's probably on the main roster.
You think he's gonna fast track it?
And I'll put my guarantee right now. He goes 362 days undefeated.
Oh, you think he's gonna go for a year undefeated? Well, I mean,
nobody will touch him.
Well, as I said,
popular.
I'm not gonna jump that much far ahead because I'm not Houdini or whatever. I don't know the future. I can't.
He's that hyped right now, and he's got that much potential, and McMahon loves him.
Well,
I was just about to ask, like, what the hell did he do to get such a big debut? Look at all these other superstars in NXT who we thought were gonna be big, and they're just nothing.
He was in Lucha Underground for, I want to say like 4 or 5 years, and he became like bigger and bigger each year, and then he got his exposure on Impact.
Yeah, Impact is where I know him from.
He did the same thing, but it wasn't a TikTok thing. He literally attacked guys behind closed doors and left an X on them, and nobody knew who. Yeah,
I remember he did that to Petey Williams.
Yeah, and the way Impact used him was nobody could touch the guy. He took out Eddie Edwards quickly, and then he took out big guys like almost the same size as him. Took him out in 20-30 seconds.
Didn't they put him in a program with Moose or something like that?
Yeah, and he took him out, and I think they had a match on Impact one day in one episode, and he took him out in 2 minutes.
Wow. But anyway, they have a huge amount of like trust or whatever. They think he's going to be big because look who they're pairing him with. Ciampa's like one of the biggest stars in NXT.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a big first program to be having on NXT television.
And I think the way it's going to go is it's going to be dominant for Killer Cross, and then Ciampa's going to fight back, and you think he's going to have a chance, and then he's just going to end up probably choking him out.
If anything, it's at least intriguing. I'm intrigued to see where it goes.
Oh, I've been hyped since he signed.
Well, how do you feel about his new name now? It's not Killer anymore because it's.
Well, what's the new name? I'd never heard.
Yeah, I didn't.
Karrion Cross, and Karrion's like.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Karrion means like rotting corpse or something. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See.
So a rotting corpse is fine, but a killer's not. So we could talk about dead bodies just as long as they're not murdered. I don't know, whatever. It's just like you're gonna call him a rotting corpse, but like a killer. That's too bad. But rotting corpse is fine on television. God, the WWE and what the picky choosy stuff. It's just funny sometimes, you know. So yeah, we can't call him a killer, but an obscure word for rotting corpse, that's okay. You know, but anyway, I didn't even know they renamed him, but I'm fine with it. Whatever. Everybody gets renamed in WWE for the most part, unless you're like one of the very few lucky people who don't. Like Keith Lee, I'm pretty sure he got lucky. He never got renamed.
Matt Riddle
got lucky. He never got renamed. Johnny Gargano got lucky. He never got renamed.
Adam Cole.
And Ciampa.
Oh yes, Adam Cole, big one. Ciampa, yeah. There's been a few in NXT. The mainstays in NXT, like the big guys in there now, like all the top stars in there. Most of them got to.
They already have like wrestlers' name. I guess they already foresaw it, you know, when they were in the Indies.
Yeah. So we got one more tedious WWE show to go over before we start wrapping things up for this week's episode. So we had SmackDown on Friday, and in the opening segment, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss came out, and they were happy to be champions. And their Moment of Bliss segment that they've been doing for the last few months started the show. Braun Strowman was their guest, and they shared compliments. They toasted their cups of coffee, and Nikki said next week they have a tag team title match, and it's against Dana Brooke and Carmella of all females. Mm-hmm. And then Bliss brought up the Money in the Bank match that Braun is going to have with Bray Wyatt. They confirmed that Strowman and Wyatt will be competing at Money in the Bank for the Universal title. And they showed the clip from last week where Bray talked about Strowman, being in the Wyatt family. Now he basically brought him in, and Strowman said, "Nobody knows Bray Wyatt like he does. He used to be a part of the Wyatt family, and he wants to forget about that. But he's achieved everything on his own. Bray didn't help create him." And he said that Bray is a manipulator who makes people doubt their reality as a whole. If he wants to challenge him for the title, then he said he's going to get these hands at Money in the Bank. So the usual Braun stuff. But I like that they're calling back to like that angle from like 5 years ago. WWE usually doesn't bring back the past in storylines.
I feel like this is a Bray thing. I feel like Bray is very keen on
it's like the Bray stuff. Like his Braun, he did bring him in. That's how Braun debuted. He was the black sheep of the Wyatt family. So it's funny that they're calling that back right after doing the John Cena stuff from like WrestleMania 30. They did a callback with that program. So then Braun noticed a gift and said that Bliss didn't have to get him anything, and they sat there while he opened it, and Bliss said that she didn't get it for him. Then Braun opened it, and of course it was the black sheep mask that he used to wear as a part of the Wyatt family. Then you just hear Bray Wyatt's laugh go over the Performance Center, the evil laugh that he does. And then it goes back to an old thing of footage of Braun wearing the sheep mask, and then a bunch of laughing, and then we cut to commercial. I love the Fiend character. I love Bray. I think he's one of the best like character workers that they have. I mean, when it comes to like working a match, sometimes the way he portrays characters doesn't always work to great matches. But as far as being a compelling television character, I think Bray Wyatt has always had that ability. So, and we got
objections.
I think
So the Fiend stuff is just I've been digging it since it all started coming together. Like when he was a game show or like a kids show host for the first time, like where are they going with this? This is weird.
It's his, and personally, I think he'll probably beat Braun at Money in the Bank.
I think he will too. Yeah, I think he will.
And I think it leads to a better, more intriguing program in the future.
So then we got Sasha Banks and Tamina Snuka, and they had a decent little match. It didn't go too long, but Sasha, due to distraction from Bayley, got the advantage. So then Lacey Evans just ran out and took out Bayley at ringside. And in this bit of distraction, Tamina was able to super kick Sasha on the outside. And then she threw her back in the ring, hit another super kick, and won the match. So Tamina actually won and is getting a championship match. I think either like this week or coming. Oh no, I think they announced it for Money in the Bank. She's getting
Money in the Bank.
She's getting a pay-per-view title shot after being like on layoff for like a year. She wasn't on television for like the longest time. Now all of a sudden she's getting a pay-per-view championship match. What? Wow, weird.
My thing is, who's gonna take it from Bayley?
I would think Lacey. I think that's where they're going with it.
I feel like Lacey's appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's who they're gonna do it long term with. Because then Lacey got interviewed backstage after this, and she said that she gave Sasha a taste of her own medicine tonight, and now wherever Sasha goes, she's going to go, because she's not only a U.S. Marine, but she ain't going to stop until the mission is complete. So she was seeming like beating Sasha and kind of keeping her from being Bayley's lackey and helping Bayley win matches as part of the mission. But I think she also thinks that like winning the title is a part of that mission coming complete. So I think Lacey's is the person who will eventually take the title off Bayley. I think so. I could be wrong, but that's where I see it going.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to go on. If they do.
So Denzel Desjardins had another squash match this week, and he had one like with Seth Rollins like last week, and then he has one with Sheamus here, and Sheamus just quickly beat him with a bro kick, and then after the match, instead of like yelling and threatening Corey Graves, he goes over to Michael Cole and yells at him. You want to disrespect me, Cole? He just berates him and threatens him and stares a hole through him.
I'm kind of conflicted. I know all the Money in the Bank matches haven't been completed for the men, but I'm conflicted between two people who could possibly win that match. Because it almost looks like they're going in the same direction with two of the people that'll be in that match, one is obviously including Sheamus.
You think Sheamus is going to be in that Money in the Bank?
Oh, I think 100%.
Yeah.
If you like, in my opinion, right now, the two top people that probably going to win that match, to me, Aleister Black is one, and Sheamus is very close behind two.
Yeah, I think if Andrade qualifies, he's got a shot to win that thing too. I think.
But if Andrade wins, you would think he would go. You would put him against Drew McIntyre, obviously.
You would, but you don't have to do it right away.
Yeah, my thing is, if Aleister Black wins, that's a program with Bray Wyatt, and that's just that's a promo event.
So you think?
I feel like Aleister would definitely be a top contender for the briefcase. It's just he's been booked very strongly, but just the way they're putting him over and the way. Yeah.
Bray Wyatt
So, but you think if he, but you would also think that like by winning the briefcase he switches brands because he's a Raw guy.
Yeah, I would definitely think he switches brands just because. Maybe they do that. He'll switch brands and Sheamus will come Raw.
Well, isn't Zelina still on Raw too?
Yeah, she is. Yeah. And
it looks like WWE likes to keep the couples together.
Yeah, I just can't see Aleister winning and it not being against Bray.
Yeah, but maybe they'll do something. Maybe they do something different where Aleister holds it for a very long time, and because you can have it for a year.
Yeah.
Drew could have his run, some other heel wins it, and Aleister ends up winning it from that heel.
Yeah, because lately they've been telling us like, hey, if you have the briefcase, you can like cash it in, because they haven't done a long-term briefcase holder.
Yeah, the last time somebody held the briefcase for a long period of time was
Sheamus?
Maybe Sheamus, but that wasn't super long. It was from summer to November 2015.
If you're going
that'd be a bit.
Carmella.
If we're talking about the men, maybe Seth, when he freaking held Money in the Bank, and that's forever ago.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since we've had
because Sheamus had. We're gonna do a little roll call here. So Sheamus had the briefcase for about 3 months, from like July to November. That's not super long, but it's been long since then, because then in 2016, Dean Ambrose cashed in the night he won it against Seth. Then the year after that, Baron Corbin won and failed, and he held the briefcase for like a month or two before he lost to Jinder, so he failed to cash in.
And then Alexa, right?
And then Alexa cashed in immediately that night, and then as Brandon said, Naomi or Carmella had her long-term 6-month run with the briefcase. She was the first winner. But then for the men, Braun Strowman had his couple-month thing where he held the briefcase for a couple months and then lost it in a Hell in a Cell that had no finish when Brock Lesnar interfered. And then last year we had frickin' Brock in the bank. And the less said about that, the better. So...
Yeah, let's not go over that.
Yeah, we don't need to go over that. So... then we had Naomi and Dana Brooke in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. And before that, we had Carmella basically getting mad at Dana for having a qualifying match because she's like, oh, you're distracting yourself from the tag title shot we have next week. So what does that matter? And then Dana's like, oh, I'll win this and I'll win the tag titles with you next week. And then I'll go on and win Money in the Bank. So I thought, well, she's definitely losing by doing that. And then she ended up winning. She countered Naomi's pin attempt with a roll-up of her own, and she beat Naomi to qualify for the women's Money in the Bank. That was a surprise to me.
She's the Apollo Crews of the women.
So then we got the segment with Sonya and Mandy, which was very good. So Sonya came out, and she asked for Mandy to come out, and saying that she's been trying to get a hold of her for weeks now. She's out here to give a proper public explanation of the things that had happened. So Mandy didn't come out. Sonya started crying. She said she's never had anyone like Mandy in her life, so come out here and let me tell you what I've been trying to tell you all this time. And then finally Mandy comes out. Mandy said she doesn't have anything to say to her after what Sonya had done to Otis and herself. And so Sonya said she spent more time with Mandy over the last 5 years than she's even spent with her own family. Then Sonya started to say, you're the most... Then she totally just changed and said, you're the most selfish human being she's ever met. And Sonya realized when Mandy got with Otis that Fire and Desire was all about Mandy and not her. So Sonya went on a rant about sharing camera time with Mandy. If they would have gotten along with the plans for Fire and Desire, then things would be much better for both of them. She helped Dolph get with Mandy so that Dolph would help them stay together as a team. And then Sonya said she feels so much better because all she wants to see is Mandy Rose get hurt. You might be pretty, Mandy, but you're nothing but a dime a dozen bottled blonde who looks like you were made in some kind of lab. She said that Mandy has no talent, and Mandy looked very hurt by this, so she's just burying her with this promo here. And then she continued to rail on Mandy Rose and promised that she will do everything she can to ruin her. And just as they were about to, I guess, scrap, Dolph came out. And then Dolph said they went about things the wrong way. He's wearing a Zack Ryder t-shirt too, by the way. So I wonder if that was intentional or not.
I think that was intentional.
So then Sonya hit Mandy with a cheap shot, and then Otis ran out. And Sonya jumped on Otis's back, and then Mandy peeled her off of him, and then they all scampered away. And then Dolph came back in, and Otis took him out, and then Otis nailed the Caterpillar on Dolph, and he rolled out of the ring after taking it, and then that was pretty much the end of the segment. But wow, Sonya Deville with a fire promo here.
Yeah, this is she's justified now. Like,
so the thing that happened 2 weeks ago on television, with they showed some guy.
Yeah, the hacker.
Yeah, the hacker. So is that not taking part of the feud anymore, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll save him to reveal something else, and maybe they'll just keep it as a mystery.
He on the show? As a I think he had his own promo. Like, hey, I will reveal the truth. Like,
yeah, they I was just about to get to that. So, they showed a Miz promo where he talked about how unfair his triple threat match is tonight, and then another Forgotten Sons hype package because they are coming to SmackDown. If you didn't forget already, because that is their gimmick, right?
I forgot.
Yeah, me too. And Daniel Bryan
on purpose to make me forget.
Great gimmick. They're living it, by the way, dude. Everybody's forgetting about them. So then Daniel Bryan took on Drew Gulak. They had a good bit of a start, and then no. Oh, this guy, I forgot this. No, it was Cesaro. This was a Money in the Bank qualifier. So Bryan hit a suicide dive on Cesaro. They wrestled for a bit. Then a glitch took over the screen during this match, by the way. It was during Bryan and Cesaro, and the voice said, "Some keep their friends close, others keep their enemies closer." And then it just cuts back to the match at hand.
Who do you guys think this is?
I think it's Mustafa.
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking it's him and he.
You think it's Mustafa Ali? I mean, that circle thing is kind of like a bit of like his ring gear he had, like that, the shiny.
the Iron Man like.
Mm-hmm.
But why? My question is why would you turn a guy like Mustafa Ali heel?
Why would he be the heel when he helped Otis and Mandy reveal the truth of their thing there? Isn't that kind of babyface to do?
That's a babyface thing.
He revealed to Mandy and Otis that Sonya and Dolph did a bad conspiracy against them. He was the one who revealed the truth to them. He helped the babyfaces find out what happened. I think that's I don't think that's a heel move.
Yeah. It's weird how they're doing it.
But, maybe they're going to keep it going, and he'll reveal some other mysteries. Maybe they'll keep it going for a while. I mean, we'll find out. I mean, the way they worded that, it seems imminent, but I could see them dragging out this hacker storyline for a bit. So Bryan and Cesaro had a pretty darn good match for TV. I mean, it's these two. You're not going to get, you're getting great wrestling, good power spots from Cesaro, good counters from Daniel. These two know how to work. They've been doing this a very, very long time, and Cesaro, of course, gets caught in the yes lock, and Bryan got him to tap out. So that was this match, and I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Money in the Bank qualifier. I'm very sure it was, unless, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
I'm pretty sure it was a qualifying match. So that means Daniel Bryan's in the Money in the Bank now. So, and we got Elias, who got set up for a concert, and Corbin jumped him from behind. This was backstage, and then Corbin beat him down and drug him off screen, and then it cut to a commercial. Then they showed Elias backstage, and he's holding his wrist, he's hurt, and then Corbin just shows up and continues beating him up again, and
When is Baron Corbin going to be world champion?
I hope never, but
I set you up there.
So Corbin asked Elias how his hand felt. I guess he didn't realize he was selling the shoulder or the wrist. And then Corbin hit him with the scepter. And Corbin said he's the king and not a joke, and he's making an example out of Elias, and that Elias will bow down to the king. And Elias was selling this Corbin beatdown big time. He was wheezing and groaning, and he started to get up, and then Elias got whacked over the back with his own guitar, and then King Corbin left. Then we got our main event, which was the triple threat for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. The Miz defending on behalf of him and John Morrison against Big E, who's representing himself, and Kofi Kingston, and Jey Uso, who's representing himself and his brother Jimmy. It was pretty good. It didn't last all that long, but they each hit their own signature spots, and Jey almost got a pinfall on Big E after nailing both Big E and Miz with super kicks, and then Miz almost stole one shortly after with a roll-up on Jey. Then Miz rolled through and tried for a figure four, but Jey ended up getting out, and then Miz was able to hit the skull-crushing finale on Jey, who kicked out, but then Big E came out of nowhere, hoisted Miz up, hit him with the big ending, and then Big E pinned Miz, and the New Day are now the tag team champions again. I was not expecting a title change here at all. I'm surprised they put the belts back on the New Day.
It's the New Day.
I know it's the New Day, but
for the thousandth time, we'll see. I think it's going to be New Day and the Usos again.
Holy goodness.
Yeah,
it's just they always deliver, and they're just gonna keep doing it till it gets to the point where they can't deliver.
But
that's their tag team division, I guess.
It's that's been the SmackDown tag title picture for 3 years now.
Yeah.
Geez,
they're gonna keep doing it. The Usos, the New Day will probably retain the first time, and then they'll do it again. Usos will win.
Well, hopefully this leads to Miz and Morrison breaking up, because I really want Morrison
as a single. Oh yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah, so, and I like Miz as a heel. I can't.
Yeah, so that's the only positive I see out of this title change.
Yeah, maybe
again, the same program for the SmackDown tag scene.
Mm-hmm. And anyway, they showed Kofi and Big E in quarantine. They recorded videos for the celebration. They pretended they were live, but clearly were pre-recorded, and they played those, which is kind of cool. Kofi's going crazy at home. Xavier Woods is celebrating. It was cool, and Big E's just rolling on the floor with the tag titles, just rolling and celebrating, doing Big E things, and that was SmackDown. And it was all right, but clearly Dynamite's been the best show of the week for a while now. A while now.
With my man Suge D.
Suge D stealing the show with Sammy Guevara this week, and
Pineapple Pete.
Jericho's favorite wrestler on commentary this week. Hopefully Jericho's
on commentary is so good.
It's
like,
gold.
I never thought I would need this in my life.
It's gold. It's gold. So
just for nostalgic reasons, I watched.
You watch
Jericho's MJF and Jericho's like a few months ago.
Oh, like the podcast they did?
No.
Where they went back and forth about it. Yeah.
I was laughing.
Where he invites him to join the inner circle, and MJF goes, "Oh, I think you want me to be in the inner circle," and they went back and forth. Yeah, that was two masters of the mic really killing it. That was fantastic stuff. So now we have gotten to the part of the podcast, just like my usual weekly content, where it is now the cheapest of plugs, everybody. So I will finish off. Gabe, you got anything you want to plug me, man? And the floor is yours.
I would like to say rest in peace to the man of every ring announcing legend.
Oh, yes.
Or every ring announcer looks up to this legend, Mr. Howard Finkel. Thank you so much for your voice, making every wrestler look like $1,000 just by his monotone, volume.
Making every match as important as it could possibly be, too, before it happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's just basically the ring announcer to, at least try to be as good as him.
One of Vince McMahon's first ever employees too, by the way. When the 80s boom happened, he was like one of the first guys to be under be a WWF employee. So he's got like tons of long-term history there. So sad. Mm-hmm. He was 69. He's the same age as my grandfather. Made it to his 70th year, but didn't quite make it to his 70th birthday. My grandfather's literally the same age. He's also born in 1950, and the Fink has had many, like he's the ring announcer. Like when people think of a wrestling ring announcer, they automatically think of Howard Finkel.
Or a ring announcer in general.
Yeah.
Everyone imitates his volume, his depth, and his tone. It's the Fink.
So rest in peace to Howard Finkel, and thoughts and prayers out to his family.
Other than that, I'm on YouTube, Nozid, on Instagram and Twitter under Gabe Nozid, one word. And I have a special video coming up with other ring announcers in my area to honor the late, great Howard Finkel. So look out for that, because who knows it? Gabe knows it.
Bam! Mr. Moist, do you have anything you'd like to mention before we sign off for the night?
No, I'm all good. Maybe I'll start a Twitch channel in the next, because I'm good at MLB The Show, and I need people to take notice.
Okay, so we'll use it as a potential thing. He could create a Twitch, everybody, and if he does create it, we'll make sure to plug it on the following episode after he makes it.
There you go.
Perfect. And then, as you know, if you're listening to this on Anchor or any of the million platforms that Anchor posts our podcast on, because you could have heard this on Spotify, you could have heard this on Google Podcasts. There's got to be at least 10 platforms that Anchor has released our wonderful little show onto. So if you heard it from any of these platforms and downloaded it, thank you very much for listening to us for this over 2-hour period. However, though, if you have heard it from the YouTube channel itself, so that's youtube.com/Brayster, and you like what you heard, please do subscribe to the channel, because these videos, of course, or the video form of this podcast is uploaded every week, along with the MP3 for download on podcast platforms. So if you found the podcast through YouTube, give this channel a subscribe so you can, have this episode come up every single week in your subscription box. So that's it for this week. We've gone through all the news and the happenings of the wrestling world, and we are going to Spanish fly on out of here. See you all next week, folks.